welcome back to Arville. What a setting for leg 3 of the 2018 Event Rider Masters series, and this incredible castle offers the backdrop for all 3 phases of competition. With a lineup that includes 5 former leg winners, both previous series champions, and 11 different nations in total, it is a wide open competition, and we won't know the winner until the last horse crosses the line tomorrow afternoon at the end of cross country. But today it is all about the dressage. We are halfway through this first phase of the competition, so 16 of the 13 2 combinations have come forward and completed their tests, and we are looking forward to the remaining 16 coming forward this afternoon. So welcome back. We hope that you're enjoying all of the coverage so far. We certainly are enjoying it. It's been top class competition, and I'm delighted to say, joining us in the studio, Laura Collett. Laura, you were out in the arena this morning with London 52. How was it? Happy?
I was actually really happy with him. He's very, very green at this level, and he's never really been in an atmosphere like that. So there were quite a few little baby mistakes, but they were green mistakes rather than naughtiness. So he's exciting for the future. Lots
to look forward to. And Arville is a little bit of an unknown quantity, but it is really impressing us all so far.
A little bit of an unknown quantity, but primarily because we just haven't seen the depth of quality that we've got that the Event Rider Masters have brought. We've only had 5 CIC 3 stars on record here, so we're learning as we're going. A lot of that will probably come from tomorrow in the 2 jumping phases. Today is pretty much running as expected so far.
So far, so good. But of course, we are only halfway through and lots to look forward to. But it is leg 3 in the series. We've already had 2 legs at Chatsworth and at Wiesbaden. And let's just remind ourselves of how the action unfolded in Germany a few weeks ago.
25 of the world's finest horses and riders, including 12 Olympians, have arrived in Wiesbaden, Germany, to battle it out for a coveted spot on the Event Rider Masters podium. The day opened with the dressage, contested right in front of the magnificent Leavitt Levites. World number 1 and 2016 series posted less German equestrian superstar exceptional Hasty earned the jury
Well, after 2 legs in the series, let's take a look at how that series leaderboard stands. The best 5 5 counting scores from the 6 legs add towards the total, and Tim Price, 2 counting scores on the board for him already. He sits at the top of that leaderboard with 36 points. Other notable combinations this weekend: Oliver Townend, Kilnabrad and Evo, the horse that finished second in Wiesbaden. He'll be coming forward a little bit later on this afternoon. Laura Collett in the studio with us. We'll be asking her what she thinks of her chances in the series in a few moments' time. Currently sitting in 8th in the series with 24 points, picked up from that 4th place finish at Chatsworth with Mr. Bass. So the series is really hotting up. It is a pivotal point being leg 3, because riders need to have points on the board already, Derm, and they need to add to it this weekend. Can Tim Price hold on to that top spot?
He can hold on to the top spot, but he's probably going to need to, I would suggest, be in the top 5, top 6. That will keep the momentum rolling for him. Even a top 10 placing is going to carry enough points. If you look at how he's done it, he finished, so he's on 36 points at the moment. He's out in front. He's done it by finishing 5th and 13th. And if we've seen how Gemma won the Event Rider Masters last year, how Oliver Townend did it the year before, well, he did it, they both did it in a different way. Gemma continued to build points across everywhere. Oliver went with 2 or 3 very big results. He's probably going to need to do the same again this year. Chris Burton is of interest to me based on what we've seen this morning, and also the fact he's on 19 points. He's just off the leaderboard that we saw on the screen already, but he's going to be thereabouts. I would suggest top 5 is now very, very likely for him if he can make sure he gets that clear jumping round.
Now, Laura, not to put you on the spot or anything like that, but series, you're very much in with a shout. Are you thinking of that, or is it just purely incidental at this point?
Well, we'll give it some sort of thought, but I've only got young horses, or quite an inexperienced combination, I suppose, going to Barbary with Billy Bounce, who I've only had one CIC run on, so who knows?
You say one CIC run, I say placed at Houghton. So, you know.
Well, we're going to give it a go, but we'll see. London 52 is, who knows what's going to happen. It's a hell of a track out there, so I'll be very proud if he gets round.
Lots to look forward to. In terms of it being the best 5 scores from the 6 available legs, does that open a door for somebody to have 4 podium finishes as opposed to 5 good counting scores? How's that going to play out, do we think?
You're asking me for complex maths here, Nicole, in a very
That's
short
what we
period
expect.
of time. Yeah, look, of course you can, but there's a number of different ways to do it. Win a couple, or else do very well in a number of them.
Well, we'll be getting a much clearer picture after Arville this weekend, so we'll be bringing you all of the action. But it's not just us here in the studio. Let's go and say a very good morning to Hannah, because what a day so far, Hannah.
Yes, what a day, Nicole. It has been absolutely superb. The facilities here at Arville are absolutely breathtaking. I'm here in some of the stables of the Leaderkirk horses. Chanel Denille behind me. Pretty disappointed I haven't got any polos in my pocket, I can tell you that. But as I said, the facilities are amazing. Horse walkers, indoor schools, you name it. And of course, all the action taking place in the dressage arena just up the hill. But I'm joined this morning, or this afternoon, we've just had lunch, haven't we, by Fred Bergenhoff, who is team coach of the Swedish team. Fred, tell me a little bit about your job here. What are your roles and responsibilities this weekend?
It's just to look after the riders as best as I can. We've got 3 riders in the RM, a couple of other riders here. They all are here with individual goals. Christopher really wanted to try to put his best foot forward to see if he could join us at the World Championships. Therese Wiklund, fantastic rider, looking for a little bit more experience, hoping to have horses ready for the European Championships next year. And then we got Ebba Arnevik, a first-year senior rider, who's here to just gain experience. And what better place to be and to ride just with the best riders in the world.
It's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? And like you say, for riders like Ebba, it's it's an unbelievable opportunity, isn't it? But let's talk about Christopher for a second. He had a good test this morning. He is really, really desperate to get to those World Games. And you ultimately make that decision, don't you?
Yeah, I think Christopher will make that decision himself, depending on how he rides. But he knew what's needed, and it definitely needs a good show for him this weekend to be at least in the reckoning.
And what do you think of Arville? It's the most stunning venue, isn't it?
It's the first time I'm here. The views are unbelievable. I don't know how you ever could be bored with it. It's a fantastic place.
Okay, well, we wish you and, of course, all your Swedish riders the very best of luck this weekend. Like we said, the facilities here are amazing. The weather is amazing. The views are amazing. But it's the competition we're all interested in. All the action starts very shortly. Francis Whittington, he's first out this afternoon.
Well, the competition is certainly amazing as well. And it is a real triathlon of equestrian sport. We talk a lot about it. The dressage, the grace, the style. Now, we're going to look into the 3 phases in a little bit more detail. But the scoring system this year, we've talked about it a lot because it has changed. Just remind us. Tell us again.
Well, the big one is that you don't have the multiplier effect anymore, which simplifies things a little bit. Whatever percentage you get, you take that away from 100, and that's the score you're on. For people who are more familiar with it, a 45 in the old system would be is now a 30. We talk about sub-40s being the currency if you want to be in that top placing. So you're kind of looking at about a 28 now as being the score that you want to be below. And then, of course, you know what the other 2 phases are about. Don't add anything to it. Jump clear in both phases as quick as you can. Finish on your dressage score. And we have a guest in studio who's a master at finishing on their dressage score. So I expect we'll get the opportunity to have a chat about that over the next hour or so.
You make it sound so easy. Just finish on your dressage score. That's all you've got to do. But my word, there are 3 phases for each of our combinations to come forward win. And let's take a closer look at them.
Eventing is a triathlon of equestrian sports, where the athletes and their horses are tested across the 3 basic disciplines. Phase 1, dressage. Phase 2, show jumping. Phase 3, cross country. Only perfect consistency across all of the disciplines will result in victory. Scoring is simple. The closest to 0 wins. Riders need to start off with a good score on the dressage phase, then in the next 2 jumping phases will do their best to add no further penalties to that dressage score. The opening phase of eventing competition tests the harmony between the horses and riders. The horses must display contentment and willingness to perform the ideal During the dressage test, the judges scrutinize every single aspect of both horse and rider as they perform the individual movements of the routine. The stage is then set for the jumping phases of the competition. It's time to up the ante in the show jumping phase. First base must rise for the style, the grace, the power, and the
Well, let's take a look at how the leaderboard for this first phase, the dressage looks after the first half of competitors have come forward. Chris Burton, Polystar out in front. That's super impressive test for them. 23.6 ahead of the home favourites. Karen Donkers and Jalapeno. Karen, the only former winner of the 3-star in Arville here in the field, 26.7. Poland's completing the top 3 at the moment. Pavel Spizak Banderas, very, very good score for him of 28.1. Other notable tests, Hippo Sapporo, Chris Forsberg, he was delighted with that. And Izzy Taylor first in the arena, direct Tulliora and Cruz. Lots to like from that combination, 33.8. So that is how things stand at the moment. And of course, we are halfway through the competition. So 16 combinations of the 32 have gone. Laura Collett and Derm Byrne in the studio with us. Let's just take a moment, guys, to talk about Chris Burton's test, because he is such a dangerous competitor. You know, whenever Chris Burton's in the field, you seek him out as one to keep an eye on. Polystar really did deliver. His test here, much improved to that at Wiesbaden.
Oh, huge improvement. But I mean, the Wiesbaden one was a little bit of an outlier as well. He had been trending, I suppose, and is still quite inexperienced and did have some time off. So they haven't really had many runs at all. They've taken 10 marks off their Wiesbaden score. So again, I'd say probably 2 outliers there. But the big thing that you'd be looking for now, and the big thing that and the reason that we focus on Chris, is exactly what we were trying to get across in that phase explainer. He's fast, and he's a very good jumper. He's the potential to finish on his dressage score. Will be difficult to move past him if he does. There's probably 2, I would suggest, who can go below him. Maybe 3, but I'd say 2.
Am I cruel and get you to name them?
No, it's very obvious. Tom Carlile and Upsilon should. They're the dressage record holder at Event Rider Masters. We looked at them warming up, but that doesn't count for much. But they looked good. Let's see how they come out. The other is Oliver Townend, Kilnabride and Evo. Very big test at Wiesbaden. They definitely have the potential to do that again. It's not easy, as Laura will tell you now from a rider point of view. It's easy to sit here and say they could and should go below a score of 23. You know, not an easy thing to do.
Now, in terms of Chris Burton's test, Laura, I don't know, did you have the opportunity to watch him? I mean, he was very, very classy and certainly stood head and shoulders.
Yeah, he kind of always does. You know, everything seems so effortless and paints a really nice picture. So you can see him there, just everything just seems easy and rhythmical, and everything just happens as and when it should.
He makes it look easy,
He
as
does.
you say.
He does, and that's part of the picture that you want to paint. Is it wants to look effortless and easy, and he definitely has nailed that on pretty much every horse he rides. So, as we were saying earlier, when you see him, you know, in the field, you know he's going to be there or thereabouts after the dressage, and then he normally finishes on it. So, you know, he's set himself up nicely for this weekend.
Well, you at home with the SAP Spectator Judging app also agreeing that he should be our leader as things stand at the moment. So Chris Burton and Polystar, they've got the target on their backs as we head into this afternoon's competition. But my word, what an afternoon's competition we have in store for us, because we have got so many names coming forward that are key ones to watch. We've already mentioned a couple of times Upsilon, Kilnabride and Evo. Upsilon, dressage record holder. I mean, forget going ahead of Chris Burton for a second. Can he challenge that record?
You keep trying to get me to say that he's going to break that record.
I do.
He's not going to break the record. I'm going to say that now so that we're getting it out of the way. I don't think he's going to be able to break his own record this weekend, which was 30.8. In the converted scores, minus the multiplier, is now 20.5. So I don't think he's going to get to 20.5. I'm sure you will let me know as soon as he does.
We'll be delighted if you're wrong.
Of course you are.
We all love to prove Echo ratings wrong. Well, the first competitor after lunch will be Francis Whittington with Hasty Imp, and we head into this third session of dressage, which includes the likes of Francis, Bill Levitt, Maxime Livio, the Kiwi superstars from New Zealand, Clarke, Johnston, Balmoral sensation as well. So stay tuned, stay with us, because lots to look forward to. Francis Whittington, though, with his long-term campaigner Hasty Imp, are going to get us underway. And this is a combination who've had numerous top 10 finishes in the Event Rider Masters previously. We're actually 10th at Blenheim in the series finale last year, 8th at Barbary last year, 10th at Gatcombe as well. Finished inside the top 20 at Chatsworth in leg 1 of 2018. But Francis, hugely experienced, and this is a horse that is very experienced as well. 14 years of age by Master Imp. And in the studio with us, Laura Collett. Laura, what are your early thoughts on this test?
Yeah, Francis and Hasty, they know each other really well, and they've been really consistent combination. He does look a little bit tense, a little bit more tense than I've seen him before. It's quite an atmosphere there, and we warm up in an indoor school, so it's quite a big difference to then come up here with all the flags and atmosphere and everything. So Francis, you can see just in the medium and extended trot, he's just maybe being a little bit cautious and not asking for as much as he maybe sometimes does.
And actually, Chatsworth scored 27.9 in the first phase.
Yeah, that was a really, really good halt there, and he stood still and waited. So he should get some really good marks for the halt and the rein-back. And it's just a shame there. He's just showing his tension again there, just popping into canter in the shoulder in. So I think Francis will be just managing this a little bit rather than being able to really ride for the big marks.
There's a bit of a difference in the marks there. 4 and a 7.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I could kind of agree with the 7 because he did canter for about 4 strides. So I think the judge who obviously had their eyes open saw that and marked him with a 4. So he was lucky from one of the judges. But the horse actually, considering he was showing some tension, has just done. He's doing a nice walk. And the good thing about this test is there isn't too much walk. So if you are sat on a bit of a hot one, it's not like the other 3-star tests that we sometimes do, which has an awful lot of walk with the walk pirouettes as well. So he's got the walk out the way, and now he's into the canter. And if I remember rightly, this horse normally has a really good canter and some good flying changes, so he'll be looking to pull some marks back in the canter work.
Well, certainly plenty of 7s and 7.5s creeping in, but expensive start means they're still trending around 35.8.
Yeah, he should be able to, really pick some marks up here as we see him start for the set up for the first flying change, and actually the horse almost thought about kicking out. He didn't, so it'll be interesting to see what the judges score that. Francis, he's very good at presenting the horse and showing it off. He's really going for it in the extended and the medium canters. And comes back really nicely. So he's showing obedience there. It's just that bit of tension that's coming through. Goes nicely into the half pass there, really flowed through and keeping the same rhythm, which is the key in this counter canter. The canter needs to be the same throughout the counter canter and the true canter, which Francis has performed that really nicely. And that was a shame. He just changed almost a stride early behind. He hadn't quite got the balance. And so he just was a little bit on his shoulder there, which meant he couldn't kind of step through, which was a shame. I probably jinxed him by saying he normally does good changes.
Welcome to the world of the curse of the commentator, Laura.
Interestingly, the judges, one judge obviously saw it and marked it down for a 4, and the other 2 gave it a 6. So he's sort of got away with it.
Well, still trending around 36. I think he'll be a little disappointed with that because this is a horse that it can easily go sub 30. But Francis Whittington, Hasty in, we know it isn't going to be a dressage competition. Lots to look forward to for them over the next couple of days in the jumping phases. Francis Whittington just completing his test. A little bit of tension creeping in the early stages that perhaps proved expensive and unfortunately ultimately affected that score. But let's go down to Hannah, who I think has found somebody pretty important for us to talk to.
Yes, I have, Nicole. I'm going to go and find Natalie Fulda, who's a FEI chief steward. Now, she is in charge on checking all of the horses when they come out of their dressage test, just to make sure that everything complies to the rule. Natalie, what are you checking for on Hasty Imp?
At least we check all the tech the horse used for the test, that it's all according to the rules. So we check the bits that are fine for the horse's mouth and allowed, and we check the ears that there's nothing in, and we look for the welfare of the horse. So we want to make sure that the horses have the first priority in whatever they have to do here during the competition, and that I check. And even I check the tack of the rider, that they use the right spurs and not too long, and that they are smoothly, and there are no marks on the horse and so on. Yeah, that's my job.
Okay, well, we'll let you get on with that very, very important job. Natalie, they're going to check out Hasty Imp. But as you can see, horse welfare is absolutely crucial in all 3 phases of the eventing.
It's a really interesting look behind the scenes, actually, because it's part of the competition that you perhaps don't get the opportunity to see. 35.5 into 15th for Francis Whittington and Hasty Imp. He's all been checked by the FEI steward and off to be looked after by the Supergroom. And you can vote for your Supergroom using the hashtag on Twitter, ERM Supergroom. So next to come forward will be a young man who's had a really, really strong couple of years. Tom McEwen, very much on the radar of the British selectors ahead of the World Equestrian Games in Trine a little bit later on this year. Comes forward with a new ride for him, Barbara Cooper's Figaro Van Het Broekhoff. Tom ranked to 14th in the world. Actually only took on the ride on this horse this year. Previously produced up to this level by Sarah Bullimore and Jodie Amos. Actually missed the 2017 season, this horse, through injury, but came back and on first run with Tom went very well at Houghton to finish in 5th, and they finished on their dressage score on that occasion.
Yeah, Tom is another one of those riders like Chris Burton who just sits so beautifully on a horse and presents it, as you know, to the best of his ability. And it does, it does make a difference for the judges if it's, nice on the eye, kind on the eye. Then, that's what paints a better picture and gives you the better marks. And this is it's a really, really big horse. So quite difficult sometimes to really keep him together. Just showing a little bit in the medium and the extended trot. He's just not quite coming through from behind. So it just shows a little bit of unlevelness behind. More through to the lack of connection rather than, the horse is obviously a very sound horse, but just the way he's not quite connected just shows that lack of, regularity.
Losing the rhythm slightly.
Yeah, through the medium and the extended, but very nice in this shoulder in, good positioning and flows really well into the half pass and good bend and, he shows suppleness there through the bend. And I think we can just sort of hear the horse grinding its teeth.
I was going to say, is that what that is?
That's what it sounds like from here. This is where I think it's quite difficult for the judges because obviously the horses, they can hear the horse grinding its teeth, but it looks relaxed. It's very relaxed in its walk steps. But the grinding of the teeth can sometimes be marked as a tension.
Could it also be just, when we concentrate, we all pull funny faces and do funny things, that the horse is actually just concentrating and that's his sort of little trait?
Yeah, it could be. There were just in the medium walk, the extended walk was very good. The medium walk, he did just show a little bit of tension and was borderline wanting to jog, but Tom kept it together. And there we see the way Tom presented that down the centre line. He was dead straight on the centre line before he then put the bend in and asked for the half pass. So that was really well executed. And here in the counter canter, he's just a little bit on his shoulder. He just, for those extra marks, could really just sit a little bit more behind and come a bit more uphill in front and have a bit more jump in the canter. But again, is presented really well and very accurate. Just there in the flying change, he sort of jumped through with his hind legs together. So I'd say he'll get penalised a bit for that. He's just a bit tight behind. And a really, really clear difference in the extended canter. And a good transition back. So again, where it's difficult not to give him the marks because he's being very, very accurate. Again, really, really straight on the centre line, put the bend into the half pass, straight, smooth, no hesitation from the horse to go into that half pass, and then Tom can ride him forwards in the counter canter. He looks a little bit easier in the counter canter this way. He's got a bit more jump than he did on the other rein. Horses sometimes find one way easier than the other. And we see him setting up for the flying change, and he again was just a bit tight behind. He sort of came up croup high, as we say. So again, just a bit of tightness and not quite through enough in that flying change. And Tom being really brave there in the extended canter. He's also got a huge canter, so he can really show it off. And then he's obviously very polite because there's a beautiful transition back, which is what the judges are looking for, a really clear transition in and out of the extended canter. Dead straight on the centre line and a really square halt. He just stepped slightly to the right with his right hind, but still very square, and he should get a good mark for that halt. The judge at M gave him a 6, so maybe from that angle wasn't quite straight. But yeah, a good test from a fairly new combination.
Well, Tom, McEwen, Figaro, Van Het, Brookshoff aren't going to quite challenge the same score that they got at Houghton on their first run as a combination internationally, but still a good score from them, and we'll confirm it for you as soon as it does come through.
We have got a problem. A few problems, actually.
We've got aging roadways,
Aging power grids,
aging everything.
We also have the age-old problem of bias in the workplace.
Really? Never heard of it.
The question is,
Who's going to fix all of this?
an actor? Probably not. But you know who can solve it? Business.
Because solving big problems is what business does best. So let's take on the wage gap, the opportunity gap,
The achievement gap.
whatever the problem.
Business can help. And
With Francis Whittington, who's just finished his test. Francis, not your best.
Not my best. I was riding around, and I think, well, considering what's been going on, the way he's been working, we didn't have him engaged enough. We didn't have him off the aids enough. We've come out of these tests before feeling really excited, really pleased, and today we just didn't really pull it out the bag. It was a bit of a poor show, really.
You seem frustrated.
Very frustrated.
What can you do about that? What is there anything you feel you could have done differently in hindsight, or what can you do to wipe the slate clean ahead of tomorrow?
Well, I think the thing is, we've done some real good tests with Hasty over the last few events that he's been doing. So every now and then you've got to have one that doesn't quite go to plan. I think this is it, and I don't think we necessarily need to go and change anything. It's just a case of make sure he's awake for the jumping tomorrow and pull our finger out and get on with it a little bit.
A few more Haribo, perhaps.
A few more Haribo. E-numbers, quite right.
Okay, we'll go with that. Well, best of luck tomorrow.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Well, next to come forward, a combination who are real familiar faces in the Event Rider Masters series. It is Bill Levitt from Australia with his long-time campaigner, Shannon Titan. This is a horse that has been such a star for Bill over the years, and actually a combination that have competed in 14 of the available 16 Event Rider Masters legs so far. So they really have been firm fixtures on our screens. They've had a number of top 10 placings. They're yet to finish on the podium. Will it be their time here in Arville? Well, certainly I know there'll be a number of people rooting for Alfie, as he's known at home. 15 years of age now, and 16 in fact, by Limerick. And a horse that actually Bill rode at the World Equestrian Games for Australia back in 2014. They average a score of 30.2 in this set phase. Bill Levitt and Shannon Titan from Australia.
He had a really good entry there, but the halt was just a little bit unbalanced. So he it's almost like he put his stabilisers out with his hind legs. This horse has got a really elastic trot. So as we see there, the hind leg is so active, and Bill can really go for the big marks in the medium and extended trot. Nice, clear transition back. You can see he's got that elevation. He's got a real nice bouncy trot, but very relaxed. Got a good positioning in the shoulder in. Could just in this half pass, he's just not really got enough bend through his body. So I would say he was lacking a bit of suppleness through his body in that half pass, and we see him go for a really big marks in the extended trot again. Really watch the horse's hind legs there. They're so active, and quite often that's what is sort of missing in the eventers trot work, as we say, if we compare it to the pure dressage horses. The rein back there, he's almost a bit too active in his hind leg in the rein back, so really snaps them up. So maybe not quite as supple through the rein back steps as he needed to be. Again, as we were saying, some horses find it easier one way to the other. So he's got more bend this way than he did in the last half pass, but maybe a little bit too much neck bend and not enough bend through the whole body. The quarters were just slightly trailing in that half pass, which we see in the marks there, 6.5 and the 6. Judge at E, who wouldn't be able to see the head on, so gave it a 7. Nice and relaxed in the extended walk there. He's really taking the rein forward, which is what we're looking for in the extended walk, is that it stays on the contact but takes the rein forward and down, and then into the medium walk, and really clear steps, no tension showing there. Yeah, we've got good 7.8.7 there for that, and it's just the difference between Bill's centre line into the half pass to Tom's. The quarters were already turning in, and the horse was slightly anticipating, whereas Tom was dead straight before he went into that half pass. So that will all be taken into account by the judges. And again, just in this canter, just losing a little bit of activity, just want a little bit more punch in the canter. It's difficult as a rider because you want to protect the counter canter there, which sometimes means we get a little bit backwards. Really, really good flying change. That was really level, really through. Should get good marks for that change.
Well, don't forget, if you would like to judge along with members of our ground jury, you certainly can do so. Download the SAP Spectator Judging app in your app store for free, and you can mark each of the movements, or in fact just mark each of the overall tests, see how your favourites rank alongside our judges.
Yeah, it's much better there on the centre line, much straighter, but again, just lacking that little bit. You kind of want to give him a little bit of a kick and go forwards there in that half pass, and now he's riding forward a bit more in the counter canter. It's very, very rhythmical and very steady into the contact, which is what the judges want to see, that the horse is really true to the hand, and this horse, he looks like he is. Bill's got him there. He's steady in his head, and again, another good flying change, really accurate, really bang on the centre line, and he prepared it nicely. The horse was waiting for him to ask for the change, which sometimes is quite difficult. They get a bit anticipating when the change is coming. They've done the test so many times, but this horse is really listening to Bill, and it gives him the opportunity to be accurate with his change.
And it must be a challenge, 16 years of age, Shannon Titan, as you say, he'll have done this test quite a few times. He probably knows it better than Bill.
Yeah, exactly. And we just see him coming to the end and just stepped a bit wide, slightly looked like his quarters might be slightly to the right. But I think Bill will be pretty happy. Probably not the best test he's ever done, but very solid. And we see there, I think he maybe just wasn't quite straight on the centre line. He's got 5.5 and 6.5 for that last halt, which was a shame because actually the straightness into the halt was very good, and he just stepped wide behind again, a little bit like he did in the first halt, maybe a bit unbalanced.
Well, Bill Levitt and Shannon Titan just finishing their test, and they actually averaged 30.2 in this first phase. They were certainly looking to be there or thereabouts with that 30.5 they were trending on before the collectives came in. So we'll confirm that for you. But Bill Levitt and Shannon Titan will go inside the top 10 as things stand here in Arville. Let's go down to Hannah, though. Tom McEwen into 14th, 34.6.
Yes, Nicole, I'm with Tom. You're into 14th place. How was it, Tom? How was your test?
Yeah, really pleased with him. Obviously, a couple of little mistakes. Still getting to know each other as a partnership. And yeah, really pleased with him. I thought he tried his heart out, and there is a lot more to come. But yeah, a lot of work to be done at home as well.
How long have you two been together?
Not very long. I think this is our third or fourth show together. And he's gone really well. So yes, super happy with him, and yeah, looking forward to tomorrow.
Tell me a little bit about Arville. It's a wonderful, wonderful venue, isn't it?
It's a beautiful location. Never been here like many people before. Obviously, the ERM has attracted a lot of people here. Obviously, we're on this fantastic surface. Brilliant arena, especially for show jumping tomorrow. The cross country has actually got a lot more undulations than I thought it would. It's going to be quite a testing track, and yeah, you're going to have to be quite nippy and quick.
Okay, well, very best of luck for tomorrow, Tom.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Well, a score just in for Bill Levitt and Shannon Titan, 29.9. So they go into 6th for Australia at the moment. 29.7, you judge him at home. Very close to our ground jury, actually, but would just have him one place higher. Don't forget, you can get involved and judge along with each of our horses using that SAP Spectator judging app. Well, Bill Levitt and Shannon Titan, as I say, making their 14th appearance in the Event Rider Masters series. It isn't an Event Rider Masters leg, I don't think, without Bill. He's been a huge part of it, and as has Shannon Titan. Can they finish on the podium this weekend? Watch this space. Next to go, though, it is French superstar Maxime Livio. Maxime comes forward with Elizabeth Hagsted's Tina de la Fief. Maxime actually ranked 26th in the world. And this is a horse that went really well at Namur, 3-star for him last year. Finished in 4th place there. Has had a bit of time off since. 14 years of age, Tina de la Fief. Just an 11-year-old by Chef Rouge. Maxime's best Event Rider Masters placing actually came back in Bramham, leg 2 of 2016 with Picador. And unfortunately, his challenge at Chatsworth with Cloud de Mer ended on the cross country when they were hot favourites. Can he put that behind him here in Arville? Well, he'll certainly be hoping so. Maxime Livio and Tina de la Fief. Would I be right in thinking, Laura, and I'm going to be testing my knowledge, that you would have gone through juniors, young riders around the same time as Maxime?
Around the same time, I think.
I didn't want to age one or other of you
he's
there.
maybe a year or two older, but we definitely, I think, did young riders at some point together. He's definitely been through the ranks of ponies, juniors, and young riders for the French team, and I think he was pretty successful, as he is on the senior level as well. So I don't know this horse, but it started well. Had a really nice entry and a good extended trot straight into good angle of the shoulder end, maybe just varying slightly, not quite staying on the track with the hind legs, and again just not quite enough bend and suppleness through the body in the half pass. Maxime's another rider who presents the horses really, really well. He sits beautifully, and he's very bold, as we see there. He really came around the corner, set the horse up, and really went for the extended trot and a really clear transition backs. In this test, we have a separate mark for the transition, and there we see a fantastic horse. He's absolutely bang where he needs to be, and you can only see 2 legs, which means he is very, very square, and that should get really good marks.
And 5 paces back, perfectly.
Yeah, I think the judge that gave that halt a 7 was maybe feeling a little bit mean, but the shoulder in and half pass slightly better this way, I think, a little bit more suppleness. The horse, if you look at the conformation of the horse, maybe finds it a bit difficult, slightly long in the back and short in the neck. So Maxime has to do a really good job of balancing the horse because he's not naturally in a balance. but look very, very relaxed and rideable. You see there really taking the rein forwards in the extended walk.
And certainly 27.8, a very competitive score. That would see him go into third place at the moment.
He's just being really accurate, which makes it difficult for the judges not to give him the marks. And up into the canter again, nice and straight on the centre line before into the half pass, and a little bit more jump in this canter than Bill had. Just maybe lost a little bit of balance around that corner, but he held it together. He kept the counter canter. Just maybe not quite as smooth through that counter canter turn as you'd like to see. And we saw the change there, very level, just almost slipped through the change, but no mistakes. And again, we see him, going for it in the extended canter. Just, I think, more than anything, is that the horse's conformation is making it difficult, but he's getting every mark possible that he can, really, which is showing he's trending on a 29.1 at the moment.
The canter work almost, there's just not been as many 7.5s with the odd 8 thrown in. They're more 6.5s, which is just taking us back towards that 70% barrier.
Yeah, and we just saw there the horse wavered through the half pass, and then when it got to the end of the track, it actually changed behind and changed back. So, okay, if the judge blinked, they'd miss it, but
I blinked, I missed it.
Yeah, we see there the judge at E gave it a 5, so they obviously saw the flying change there was just maybe a little bit late behind. Didn't step through enough, a bit short and a bit tight, but everything else he's being as accurate as he possibly can. The horse is almost looking like he's getting a bit tired maybe in the hand, like getting a bit heavy in the hand. Maxime's having to do a lot of rebalancing in this canter to the right. So yeah, the canter works just slightly dropped the mark down from what it was in the trot. Looked like it was square halt, maybe a little bit unbalanced into the halt at the end, but as I said, I don't really know this horse, so I don't know whether he'll be pleased with that or not. This is where we need our...
Well, we haven't seen a huge amount of her, to be fair, Laura, because she had a bit of time off. She went to Namur last year, went very well in Namur and finished 4th, but actually has had a bit of time on the sidelines since. So this is their first international run, I think, since that run last year. So Maxime Livio and Tina de la Fille for the second of our French combinations coming forward. Maxime yet to finish on Event Rider Masters podium, but there was a lot to like from this test, Laura.
Yeah, we see there the rein back, they're just showing it again, really level steps back, 5 steps, which is exactly what he needed to do. Yeah, there was plenty to like and a couple of little unbalanced things, but other than that, he's finished on a 30.8 and into 8th place.
Well, into the top 10, Maxime, 28.5. You judge him at home, actually putting him in the 3rd place. So onto the podium, you at home. But don't forget, you can get involved with that SAP Spectator judging app, but actually into 8th, Tina de la Fille, Maxime Livio.
Bill Levitt and Shannon Dale Titans 14th Event Rider Masters. Absolutely superb. And a good test, Bill, putting you into joint 5th, but you feel like you were slightly penalised.
It's a conversation that goes around the lorry parks after every dressage phase, but as riders, if you think the horse, you know, did what was asked of him, you want the good marks, and you don't want judges to be frightened to give an 8 or a 9. So I thought my changes were particularly on the aids today and really clean and in a rhythm. And so I'm, you know, a bit frustrated they only got 7s for them. Those little things make a big difference in the end of the shake-up, you know. So it's all very tight. Obviously, there's a lot of good riders to come this afternoon. But, you know, they'll all be in around those sort of 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So, you know, they're not... be interesting to see. There could be a few that go above Berto, but, you know, there won't be many. So it's still going to be very close for the jumping phases.
Bill, this elusive podium.
Yes, well, it is elusive. I mean, that rail out in Wiesbaden, I think, cost me 5th place. So we will see. I mean, it's a very hot field here. Probably you know, it'd be Olympic Games. There wouldn't be any bigger, you know, higher quality of the top combinations. So, yeah, it's going to be hard to finish on a podium. But you know, I've, you know, got a horse that has enough gallop probably to go quick. We'll see. Wiesbaden suited him better because it's flat. There's a few hills here. So, but he's, you know, I think he's quite fit. So I'll be waiting to see after the show jumping. That'll be the big thing. If I can go clear in the show jumping and stay in the mix, then, you know, you never know, do you? You just got to have to get out there and take it stage by stage.
OK, Belle, I'm going to stop you there because they're about to start the next test. But the year is still young. We've got plenty of podium time left.
Well, this combination in the arena is one I've actually been really looking forward to seeing, because it's not often we get to see them over this side of the world. From New Zealand, Clarke, Johnston and Balmoral Sensation, owned by the Johnston family. Clarke actually ranked at 23 in the world. And this a combination who actually finished 6th individually at the Rio Olympics a couple of years ago. Adelaide 4-star winners of last year as well. And a combination coming here with 4 straight international victories under their belt. They were in, as I say, the other side of the world. So they're coming up against the top European contingent here in their first ever Event Rider Masters leg. Laura, early impressions on Balmoral Sensations test?
Yeah, it's lovely. I absolutely adore this horse. I think he just paints such a nice picture. He's a horse that has a smile on his face. You know, he loves his work. Clarke knows him so well, and it's a joy to watch so far. You know, everything just flows, everything's happening as and when he's asking for it. There's no tension at all. Yeah, he should be. I'm a bit surprised he's not getting better marks, because for me there's not an awful lot to criticise. I think, you know, the horse is happy, relaxed, doing as he's asked, and you know, very clear. Transitioned in and out of the medium and extended canter, extended trot, sorry. And there, again in the extended walk, he's stretching forwards to the contact. Maybe a little bit short in the steps for the extended walk. He hasn't got the biggest of walks, and that was a shame there. He had a jog, so he'll get marked down for that. The horse, as we were saying about the horses anticipating and knowing the test there, he was a bit cheeky. He knew the canter was coming. Which was a shame because he'll have ruined a mark for the medium walk and for the transition into canter.
Do you sometimes get to that point where they know it's coming, you go early, and you just think, I will sacrifice a couple of marks, but I'll be into the canter? And
yeah, and Clarke didn't quite make a decision either way there. He sort of was trying to keep him in the walk, but he was wanting to canter, and then which did then mean he messed up the canter transition. So. Yeah, that was a real shame for this combination. But I know that was a stunning flying change. Absolutely on the marker, smooth, lovely elevation. So he should get marked well for that. And the canter is very relaxed, very rhythmical. You know, he shows a clear difference there. Maybe just came back slightly too much from the extended canter into the medium canter. It was a bit too much of a clear transition. He could have been a bit braver in the medium canter. He had a lovely extended canter, but needed to be a little bit more in the medium. As we see him there, dead straight on the centre line and smoothly into the half pass.
now, actually, Laura, a question for you. You might know the answer to this, you might not. But yesterday in the arena familiarisation, you get the opportunity to work in the arena. And Clarke actually had him in a double bridle. What would be the sort of thinking behind working him in a double bridle, but then actually coming into his test in a snaffle bridle?
I think he has done a few of his tests in the double bridle. It may be that when he worked him last night, he felt he didn't quite need the double. For me, the horse doesn't look like he needs a double bridle. He looks lovely and in his outline and into the contact. So that's just a rider preference. You know, he maybe mixes and matches as he feels the horse, what he feels the horse needs. I think I would say he might be a bit disappointed with this score, but the horse has not long been over from New Zealand, so maybe, you know, he's had to have a bit of an easy time to get over the travel, and the horse looks like he's maybe come out a little bit perky and a bit pleased to be out, so which is a good sign. You know, he's a slightly older horse, he knows his job, but it's nice to see him enjoying it.
And he does look like he absolutely loves his job, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He's got a smile on his face.
He definitely does. I mean, look at him. He's delighted with himself. I mean, Clarke might not be quite so delighted, but the horse looks happy as Larry. And, you know, we see him there having a little jog. You know, he's pleased to be out. And, you know, it's a joy to see a horse like him here at the ERM. And I think this is part of his preparation for the World Equestrian Games. So we should all be feeling very privileged to see him.
Oh, we certainly are, and we're going to look forward to seeing them in the jumping phases, because one of the most highly rated show jumpers in the field. But huge credit must go. He's known as the Snowman at home. He's got quite the following, and you can certainly see why. The super grooms really do an incredible job.
Yeah, I saw Lydia, who grooms for this horse. I saw her washing him last night, and the purple shampoo that gets them so white, and she said he was literally purple at one stage. So then she has to rinse it all off and make sure she's missed it. She hasn't missed any purple bits, but he looks absolutely stunning, and his tail, everything, it's incredible. So yeah, a great job.
Well, Balmoral sensation Clarke Johnston will get a confirmed score for them very shortly, and look forward to seeing them in the jumping phases. But for now, let's go to Hannah.
I'm with Maxime Livio. Maxime, we don't know a lot about Tina de la Fief. Tell me about her.
It's a long friend, because I rode her since she was 4, so I know her very well. I did everything with her. I try to be very passionate with her, because she jumped always too high, and then on cross country she was a little bit worried and go too high, and so she did for a long time 2-star level, and now since 2 or 3 years she start 3-star. I love her. She's fighting for the rider all the time. She is not the best quality horse I used to ride, but she's always giving the best she can all the time. Today she did it, but I think I lose a little bit my connection on the canter. She was a little bit too flat, and then I lose the normal point I had on the canter part. Normally she's more used to be around 72%. So, but I'm quite happy, and I'm very exciting to wait for the overtest.
Okay, well, we wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. She's going to be quick round the course, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you will see how she jumps. She's a crazy jumper.
Okay, good luck, Maxime.
Thank you very much.
A crazy jumper. We'll look forward to seeing Maxime's jumping phases with Tina de la Fief. And now we go to his fellow Frenchman, Sidney de Flem and Trez Male. Sidney coming forward on the horse that he went really well on, actually, at Barbary last year, to finish in 4th place, just off the podium. Was so unlucky to miss out on that podium finish in Barbary. Was super fast across the country as well, so could be one to really keep an eye on in the final phase tomorrow afternoon. An 11-year-old stallion by Jaguar Male that actually was selected to represent France at the European Championships in Stragom last year. And actually, I think that was Sidney's senior team debut. He actually represented France at junior and young rider level. A former stable jockey to Sir Mark Todd, who we actually had in the commentary studio with us a little bit earlier on today. And a horse that I imagine the French selectors will be watching very carefully ahead of the World Equestrian Games a little bit later on this year in Trowne in September, because they actually secured their WEG qualifying results with a 3rd place in Verano in Italy in the long format 3-star a little bit earlier on this season. This is the first run internationally since that run. And again, they'll be looking to continue that good form. He's a really striking looking stallion, isn't he?
Yeah, he's beautiful. He's black and he's got a huge front. Obviously, being a stallion that helps, but he's got the kindest eye, this horse. And I think he's known as Teddy in the stable because he's like a teddy bear. So, you know, he's got the moves to go with the looks as well. He's really nice. We see a great entry there, and into a really nice medium trot. He's very rhythmical in his trot work here, and paints a really nice picture. So I think this is definitely one that could be right up there if he carries this on.
Well, he'll be looking for some more of those eights because he's immediately gone into the sort of Chris Burton territory, which he would certainly be very pleased with.
Yeah, definitely. Just maybe the half pass lacked a little bit of bend again. The judges thought it was very nice, so that's all that matters. So see again, really rhythmical extended trot and clear transition back. It's just they look really as one, as a partnership there. A nice halt, not 100% square, but he stood very still and not quite the 5 steps backwards, and maybe was just dragging his feet slightly, not clear steps backwards, but straight into a lovely shoulder in again. So far, I'd say he's pulling out a really good test. And into the walk, very relaxed.
Certainly trending into the top end of the podium. And would that be where we could expect them on their echo rating stats?
Yes. Well, Trez Male did deliver a very big test at Stragom would be the big one, 27.7, and then at Barbary 28.9, and before that at Tattersalls 28.2. So that's all their recent tests. Their last one though, Virano, was at 32. But generally, if you're taking an overview of their last few tests, all at this level, one of them being that Event Rider Masters at Barbary, then somewhere in around this 28 mark is probably about where they are.
We just saw in the half past there, his quarters were slightly leading, and we see in the counter canter there, just a little bit tight in his hind legs, almost going up and down on the spot a little bit. And again, the change itself was clean, but the stride before was just a bit short in his hind legs there. So just showing in the canter, he looks a little bit more tense than he did in the trot work. The trot work, he was so relaxed and rhythmical and lovely, and the canter just looks a little bit tight behind. We see him there, just want him to go a little bit more forward and cover a bit more ground with his hind legs. We see just changing his hind legs there around the corner, and again, borderline. The second half of that half pass was much better. The beginning of it, the quarter's just slightly leading, and he's just popped in a flying change there. So he's just not quite on the aids and listening. He's trying to be a little bit clever. He is a stallion, so he maybe has his own opinions on things. And he's changed. The horse knew that change was coming, and he changed early behind. So that just a real shame. This canter work has dropped the score down quite a bit, and I say he'll probably lose some marks in the submission at the end as well.
And it's a shame because, I mean, he was at one point challenging Chris Burton's leading score, but the horse just seems to have got a little bit unsettled, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
we see him again there. He changed behind again. It looks almost like the horse is just being a bit hesitant against Sidney's leg. Maybe not. It's just not quite listening and doing as Sidney's asking in the canter. Whereas in the trot work, he looked totally rideable and lovely. So it was almost like watching two different horses there in the trot to the canter. In the trot, we had a really harmonious horse, and in the canter, there was a bit of tension and a bit, swishing his tail and changing his legs and being a bit opinionated.
Well, Sidney, Dufresne, Trez Male, perhaps a little feeling of what could have been, because they were really looking to challenge Ali. We're going to get the opportunity to see this canter mistake, Laura. Just talk us through it.
Yeah, so you can see he's just going a bit up and down in his hind legs coming into that corner. And I think where the horse wasn't quite in front of Sidney's leg, he was trying to ride him forward to get him in front of the leg, and the horse then was a bit unbalanced and slipped in a change.
Well, we'll come back for Sidney's confirmed score in just a moment.
Well, we're very lucky. We have Clarke Johnston, who has come all the way over from New Zealand for a summer here in Europe, been here 2 weeks. Clarke, you thought your test went better than the judges. Is that fair to say?
Well, I felt like it went very well. I was very pleased with the horse. There was a couple of mistakes in like the walk section, which would have affected the score, but I felt like he did some super work, but the judges didn't today. But you win some and you lose some, and we'll just watch the videos and do some more homework before the next one.
Now, our team in the studio were talking about you doing your familiarisation in a double bridle, and then today not coming out in a double bridle. What was the thinking behind that?
Well, actually, a couple of months ago, I broke my little finger, so I couldn't ride in the double bridle at one of the shows in New Zealand that I did this season. And I rode in the snaffle, and the general consensus was that he looked a lot nicer in the snaffle than the double. So I still trained him a fair bit in the double bridle, but just using the snaffle for the test, and that was the thinking behind that.
Most importantly, how's the little finger?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay, good. All right. Well, very best of luck for tomorrow in the other 2 phases.
Thanks very much.
Glad we've got the answer to that one. So Clarke Johnston, Balmoral sensation, we just heard from him, but into 11th, 31.2 for Sidney Dufresne and Trez Male. Actually, you at home would have had him marked in second, 26.6 on the SAP Spectator Judging app. Next to go, though, it is the combination who took the Event Rider Masters title in Wiesbaden last year. It is Sarah Cohen with Pressy Spark and Liz Jones's Treason. This combination actually finished in second on the series podium last year. And I say combination because while it's the riders' podium, actually Treason was the only horse that Sarah campaigns at the top level, and the only horse she campaigned in last year's Event Rider Masters series. They headed out to Wiesbaden for leg 2 of the series this year to try and retain their title. Couldn't quite do so. Things didn't go to plan in the show jumping, but they finished in 12th place, scored 33.7 in the dressage, but a horse that is more than capable of breaking into the 20s. And I know Mr. T, as he's known at home, has quite the following as well. So they'll no doubt be tuned in watching him, but Sarah Cohen and Treason.
Very consistent in their scoring, Nicole, is the interesting thing for me here. Just let me tell you their last test. So Wiesbaden in 2017, Jardy, Gackham, Blair, Blenheim, all of them, these scores, 28.8, 28.3, 28, 28.7 and 29.2. So they were below, they're in that 28 zone pretty much every test up to Wiesbaden, 33.7. Is that the outlier, or are they back to 28 today? That's the big question for me here.
We just see the beginning part of that test. I was a bit ashamed, almost the thought about having a little canter there, but Cutty did a really good job to cover that up, and he's got a really big medium and extended trot. This extended trot is better than the medium trot. It's just lost a little bit of rhythm halfway across the first medium, but they know each other so well, this combination. They've been together, and I think I'm right in saying this is the only horse that Cutty competes now.
It is, yeah, absolutely is.
She's had him all the way through. They've done an awful lot together, and I think I was talking to her earlier, and I think it aims her to take him back to Burghley at the end of the season. So these are all part of her prep runs for that, and she loves the Event Rider Masters series. So we just see it lacking a little bit of suppleness through that half pass. Taking some good steps in the walk there, as we see. We talk about in the extended walk, which is what she's doing now, the over track. So the hind legs need to land further forwards than where the front feet land. So for me, that was a good extended walk. If anything, he could have just stretched his head and neck down and out a little bit more. But the steps and the rhythm were very good. And as what we were talking about earlier there, Cutty maybe felt like the horse was anticipating, so rather than making a mess of anything, she just went into canter, maybe a stride, 2 strides early, but the transition was good, and for the judges that are judging pretty much from behind her, they wouldn't really have seen that she wasn't quite as accurate on the marker. And the horse blowing his nose there, it's a bit of tension, but everything else, and we can hear him grinding his teeth a little bit, so he's maybe a little bit tenser than we've sometimes seen him before. He has a lovely canter though, so she can really ride him forwards and has a really active step behind. Just a little bit of a stutter into the change, but the change itself was clean. Had a good activity and jump. Could have just maybe ridden a little bit more forward into the change. But a really clear transition into the extended canter, and we see the horse covers the ground so beautifully. He's active behind, and a clear difference into and out of the extended and medium canter. So that should get marked really nicely. Nice half pass there, really stepping forwards and across. Cutty's such an experienced rider. You can see she's using every inch of the arena and getting every mark she can. The canter works bringing the mark down. We're trending on a 31.8 at the moment. Lovely change. That was absolutely bang on the centre line. There was no rush into it. She was waiting. She asked for the change and she got the change. Really clean, big jump through for the hind leg. So I'm surprised there's not an 8 there from the judges really for that flying change. Again, lovely transition back. Cutty just used her shoulders and seat to bring the horse back. There was no fight with her hand or anything. Just coming towards the end of her test, so that was a really good halt, bang on the centre line. So that should bring the mark down. I think it should be around a 30 with the collective. So she might even just break into the 20s there.
Sneak sub 30.
She could do. She should get good rider marks, and we see the smile there. So she's delighted with that. She, as you said, she knows this horse really well, and they're a great partnership. So it's great to see.
She adores him as well. He's kept at home. He's a family pet. Her kids deal with him all day long. He's just an absolute star for them.
He is, and they're a great combination. And she's set herself up nicely for hopefully another podium.
Well, they'll certainly be fast across the country. Trez and Sarah Cohen, look at that smile. She certainly does love the Event Rider Masters series, and she would love it if she could get on the podium again here in Arville. 30.3, we think, their score, and we'll get that confirmed for you very shortly. But still very respectable from Sarah Cohen and Trez, and very much following their averages as well. But for now, let's go down to Hannah, because Hannah, that was a test of 2 halves almost.
Yes, it certainly was, Nicole. Well, I've got the man here to talk about himself, Sidney Dufresne. A test of 2 halves, they're saying in the studio. Would you agree?
What does it mean?
It means that one half was good and the other half wasn't so good.
Yeah. No, all the beginning was very good. And he did a very good trot, and I think I didn't do very well at the walk. And on the counter, I think I just need to collect him a bit more, and I did the opposite. So he was a bit too long, and he did a too big strike. But just need to remember for the next time and to do the same trot, and he will have a very good mark on the dressage.
Well, you were just a mark and a half above your average dressage score, so there or thereabouts. But cross country's your thing. You're pretty quick across the country, aren't you?
Yeah, no, he's quite good horse for show jumping, cross country. So I haven't walked the cross country yet, so we'll see what's happened on Sunday afternoon.
Okay, well, very best of luck, Sidney.
Thank you very much.
Or Trez or Male. He's pretty relaxed for a stallion, isn't he, Laura?
He is. He's so well behaved. You wouldn't know he was a stallion at all in the stables, and to deal with, he's, like I said, he's called Teddy for a reason. He's a lovely, lovely horse, and like Sidney said, he's a very good jumper, and he's very fast cross country. So he's definitely one to watch tomorrow.
And still into fifth, Sarah Cohen. She'll be pleased with that, sneaking sub-30 with Treason. So the final rider to go in this third session of dressage, heading towards the three-quarter mark. It will be the current series leader, wearing his series leader armband. It is Tim Price and Kincooley cruising. Tim, you finished in fifth place in Wiesbaden. That was with Sekatinka. Actually rides this relatively inexperienced 9-year-old mare for owner Susan Lamb. And I say relatively inexperienced, but very talented, because actually the Tattersalls 2-star winner from 2017 made their 3-star debut at Haras de Pin in France in August of last year and actually finished in 7th place. So all to play for them here. And that Tim actually has a couple of other very good rides in the straight 3-star here in Arville. So he's looking for series points, and I think he obviously thinks a huge amount of this horse to bring him forward as his challenge here in the Event Rider Masters leg 3. So Tim Price, Kincooley cruising. Tim, the current series leader, with 36 points on the board. 2 counting scores from Chatsworth and Wiesbaden so far. This is going to be a very important test in terms of the series.
We just saw the horse maybe showing a lack of inexperience there, just when he halted, just looked up to the right. There's quite a lot going on around the arena. But straight back, as soon as Tim has his hands back on the rein, straight back into concentration, and a nice medium trot, but maybe not as big as it could have been. But again, Tim's one of these riders. He's so good at producing a test and painting a nice picture. He sits perfectly on a horse. Everything, as we were saying about Berto's test, you want to make it look effortless, and Tim does just that.
Now, this horse actually, this mare by Creever Ferro, who's the same sire as Oliver Townend's Kilnabrad and Evo, who we'll see a little bit later on this afternoon.
That's an interesting bit of
I'm
information
there.
there.
Full of useless random little nuggets, Laura.
That extended trot was better. The horse does look very relaxed. Just a shame there, just didn't quite step under with that right hind. Good rein back steps there, and we see Janelle watching on. So they're an unbelievable pair, those two.
They're a power couple.
They absolutely are. There's not one that you could say was, better than the other.
Well, Tim's got to pull his socks up. Janelle's won 2 4-stars already this year.
Well, she's
Tim.
literally
Oh
on
my
fire.
God, Tim Price. Tim is absolutely leading the Event Rider Masters, me remind you, on 36 points at the moment. And what makes this a very interesting moment is you're beginning to see 7s and 8s. We're now into the 20s, 29. If we can get this down slightly, we're about where we would be expecting. 30.6 last time out at Blenheim. But they are very good jumpers in both the next 2 phases, and they have shown us speed. They're inexperienced at the level. 9-year-old mare, only 2 CIC 3-stars under her belt so far. But what Tim's going to be looking for here is, could he potentially get himself another top 10 ERM placing, which I think would give him great momentum for a big series push in the Event Rider Masters 2018. Key moment here. Can he stay in the 20s? I think that gives him the momentum to push on.
Yeah, he's just, he's just painting painting that picture. The horse has got her ears pricked, looking very relaxed, and sort of like she's asking Tim what he wants next. And it's a lovely, lovely test to watch. I think, and as we know, Tim's a bit of a master when it comes to producing these horses. That she might be inexperienced, but she's got all the experience on her back. So it's a bit of a shame in that test there, in that change there. Sorry, just didn't quite come through. But again, as I said, inexperienced 9-year-old, so still learning those flying changes.
Now, this test at the moment is certainly see him going into the top 5. So if he can just get through the end of it without losing any marks, he's going to be very much in touch with the leaders.
Yeah, it's an interesting test to watch because there's nothing wow. You wouldn't look at it and say, wow, that's incredible. But there's no mistakes. And that's the key, and that's why he's around a 29, which is about 70% mark, because it's consistent. There's no break in the pace. There's no the strides level, even the frame's lovely, and it all just looks easy and nice. So to get those 8s and 9s and the bigger marks, it needs to be a bit more wow. That change was very correct. Tim did a really good job of producing that flying change, and it paid off. So I think the score could be coming down even more with these last few marks.
Well, certainly plenty of 8s that have been on this test. Janelle, as we saw watching on, she'll be a 4th last to go with Cloud Dancer. Tim comes round to his final centre line and halt. And I think that is a test that he'll be very pleased with this 9-year-old.
Yeah, definitely. It was a lovely halt at the end there to finish. So I'd say, yeah, he'd be really happy. And as we've said, he's set himself up nicely for another good finish to hopefully hold the lead on the series leaderboard.
Well, watch this space. Tim Price, Kincooley Cruising. A really talented mare for Tim. He actually hadn't ridden many mares until last season when he took on a couple of Janelles, and I think he's actually quite taken with them. So we'll be looking forward to seeing them in the jumping phases. But Laura, you can certainly see there is a lot more to come, as you say, in the future that we'll see this horse get even better scores.
Yeah, definitely. I think at the moment Tim's very much going for correct and true training and teaching the horse to stay relaxed and produce, like we said, like we call it a clear round in the dressage, making no mistakes, which is exactly what he's just done there. And once you've established that, then you can put a bit more power, a bit more oomph into it and get those wow marks. So it's definitely all there for the future.
Well, we think Tim Price, Kincooley Cruising, is going to just sneak into the top 3 or 4, 28.1. So he actually goes into equal thirds with Pavel Spizak Banderas. So that is a huge result for him. Tim Price, Kincooley Cruising, and we'll look forward to hearing Tim's thoughts on his test very shortly. But for now, one lady who I imagine is pretty happy is talking to Hannah.
Yes, I'm here with Sarah Cohen. Sarah, you're happy with that test?
Yeah, I was really pleased with him, really pleased. There's a couple of expensive mistakes in it, particularly that first change, which he's so good at. But I think just anticipated it a bit. And I just took a while after the walk to get going in the canter, straight into the half pass. And he's not that keen on going sideways. So it just took a little bit of time to get going in the canter. And that's perhaps why I lost that first change. But we got sorted for the second canter and he felt great. He felt really good.
There was some discussion about teeth grinding, about nose blowing. Is that a sign of tension or is that something he's always done?
He's always done a little bit of grinding and it's not really tension. It's his concentration, I think. He's always done it. A little bit of nose blow. Well, he's not one that's going to blow in there. But sometimes he's like, oh, what's going on? But he's fit. He's really fit and he's virtually full thoroughbred. So, he's got that side a little bit, but he's usually pretty laid back and he felt very rideable in there and he didn't tighten up on me like he did in Wiesbaden. And it felt one of the best tests he's done. I thought maybe he'd perhaps got slightly better, but if they were, going on that tension, then that's fine. Not a lot I can do about it.
Well, we wish you all the very best of luck for the next couple of days. You're lying in 5th. That's a great start to the weekend.
Yeah, really pleased. You know, the good ones are to come. But you know, he's a great horse, and I have so much fun being here and riding him. So we're just enjoying the moment.
Well, we love having you here, Sarah.
She's been such a huge part of the Event Rider Masters series, and can she get on the podium again? Well, this is how the leaderboard looks 3/4 of the way through the competition. Chris Burton and Polystar leading the way, 23.6, and actually you agree at home with the SAP spectator judging app as well. A little bit harder to impress, 25.8, but it would still have him out in front. Into equal third there, Tim Price, King Cooley cruising, a very good test from him and big series points on offer. Maxime Livio, Tina de la Fief, one that I understand Maxime said crazy jumper, so one to keep an eye on for tomorrow. Other ones to keep note, Laura Collett, who's been in the studio with us, 31.0 with London 52. Perhaps a little disappointment for Clarke Johnston, Balmoral sensation, 32.1 for the New Zealand superstars. But we've got the final session of dressage very shortly. For now, though, let's go to the man that's wearing that series leaderboard armband.
Yeah, I'm here with Tim Price. Tim, high five. We've just been talking about that. Great test.
Nailed the high five, and yeah, she nailed the test. She's green at this level. I think I've done one proper 3-star before. So, but I believe in her. She's a great mare. I've had her for a few years now, so I know she's got it in her. So that was great. She's up there with the more experienced horses and all those good riders. So I'm happy.
Now, we need to show off this series leader armband. What do you need to do tomorrow to hang on to that bad boy?
I think I need to pump some more iron so it actually stays on my arm a bit better than this feeble little horse rider's arm. I think it's just about consistency now. We've got to go fast. That's always the order of the day at these Masters events. So, yeah, and clear, and then, yeah, go from there. But like I say, she's green, and you just got to feel your way around. And, yeah, just want to be consistent through the whole series and hang on to this bad boy.
Okay, well, good luck. We're looking forward to seeing the missus go around the track shortly.
Yeah, she's out soon, so good luck to her. Not too much good luck. She's had enough lately.
Okay, good luck, Tim.
I'm sure he doesn't mean that really, but Tim Price, Janelle Price, they are definitely on fire at the moment. Now, we've got a break coming up, but just very quickly, Laura, thank you for joining us. We've loved having you with us. Who's your money on to lead the dressage?
I think Oliver Townend. I've been watching that horse warm up, and it looks as good as I've ever seen it.
Derm will be happy you've agreed with him there.
We're on the same page. I mean, we're only on the same page because, you know, it's all based in fact, Nicole. You base yours purely in excitement around that big grey Upsilon.
Well, she's a fangirl.
I am an Upsilon fangirl, unashamedly. I'm not going to lie. And Upsilon is going to be the first to go in just a few minutes' time after the break. So make sure you stay tuned with us here on Event Rider Masters, because my word, we have got a big final session of dressage coming up for you. Well, we are about to get underway with the final session of dressage here in Arville, leg 3 of the Event Rider Masters series, and this final session, the best seeded combinations in the field coming forward. Thomas Carlyle, Upsilon. The record holders will be first into the arena in just a few moments' time. Some other really key combinations in there. Oliver Townend, Kilnabrad and Evo put up by Echo Ratings as the hot favourites all weekend. We will be watching them very closely. And the combination with the best average in the field, Janelle Price and Cloud Dancer. But plenty of strength in depth. Any one of these last few combinations will be rattling the top end of the leaderboard. And I'm delighted to say that joining us in the studio is none other than Swedish superstar Ludvig Svenestål. Ludvig, you agree with me. We are both saying that Thomas Carlyle Upsilon is going to go into the lead.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some improvement to Bertho's test, and I think, especially in the trot, I think Upsilon could get the higher marks. And yeah, I think he should.
Well, let's just take a review of the podium as it is at the moment. Polystar Chris Burton, the one to beat, 23.6. Karen Donkers Jalapeno, 26.7. And Tim Price King Cooley cruising, 28.1. Now, an early 8 for the entry, but of course, very early days. But 8's for the medium trot as well.
So he's having the right score now, Darm.
No, look, guys, no, I would be delighted if he was able to A, go into the lead, and B, break his record. The only thing that I haven't been getting on board with is that it's a definite. I think he does have some questions to answer, but he looks like he started well. Don't forget, the 2 scores he's chasing down, 23.6 is the lead, but his own record that he set at Barbary last year, 20.5. Upsilon, very much a fan favourite, as we all know. Ludvig, talk us through. Key moment here, the rain back.
Yeah, I mean, the hold was okay, but not perfect. The rain back could be a bit more fluent and the steps more diagonal. Probably not, it's okay, but yeah, about 6.5. It's acceptable, but not the movement he would probably have want to do. But I mean, this is a very nice horse, like has very nice movement and still in very good carriage, good outline, relaxed. I mean, this is very, very good. And here in the walk, the horse walk in a clear walk, and the neck is good, and yeah.
The scores aren't quite coming through to challenge the lead. The canter's going to have to be something very, very special. Chris Burton is our leader at the moment, 23.6. But this is the combination who hold the Event Rider Masters record dressage score with 20.5 at Barbary last year.
But there was still some good scores in the trot. I mean, that hold brought the score down a little bit, but it's still, what you want to do is a fortlet test with no mistakes. That's when you get the really good scores. And as soon as you make a less good movement, you drop down quite a lot.
And we absolutely have to say, we are seeing one of the best horses in the field in the dressage. So we're looking to be exceptionally picky when actually this is a sensational test so far.
Yeah, this is really super. I mean, you just see here the horse balance, the carriage of the horse, and I mean, everything is very good. To me, and see how the change is here. I thought that was a very, very good change. And I think it's really fantastic because the horse has so much expression, yet it's still relaxed and still does an accurate test. And I think that's one of the most difficult thing is to get everything like he managed to do. And yeah, I think it looks very good so far. But he needs to do some very good things now to beat Berto, I think. But it's not far away. Because I think Berto was the similar mark at this stage in the test, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely right. And as you can see, we're still waiting for those marks to come in. He had a 9 for a change. He's got another 9 there on that extended medium canter, 25.4. Ludvig absolutely has the potential. 2 or 3 more big movements with similar scores, and he could well hit the lead. But I think the record is safe. His own record is safe. I don't think he'll break it again. How was that change?
Yeah, it was good. Could have had a little bit more expression, but very relaxed, very clear. It was a very good change on the 8, but I don't know if I would say it's the 9s, but I would definitely give it an 8.
Well, what we talk about, Ludwig, you've heard me talking about it time and again, finishing on your dressage score. If Chris Burton finishes on his dressage score and was still leading, it mightn't be possible to get past him. Upsilon is edging closer to that now, 24.8. Don't forget Collective still to come in, 24.4. This is looking good. This could be the lead, Nicole.
Yeah.
Well, he is certainly going very close to challenge Chris Burton on a score of 23.6 with Polystar. And we'll be watching these final scores with much interest. 24.3, he's trending. The question will come in as to whether his collective marks can bring his score down underneath that. I think it's going to be borderline. Ludwig, would you say into the lead or into second?
I would say it should go in the lead. I think that with the pace that it's got, the way Thomas ride, he should have high collectives on those for sure, high submission as well. So I would be very surprised if it doesn't go into the lead. But I don't think it's going to beat the record.
Well, no, it can't beat the record now. Thank you. Thank you. But 23.6, it was 24.3, 24.4 was that final score that we saw just before those collectives coming in. That's very close to where Chris was. He was in or around the same before his collectives. He had taken just about 23.8. What?
We've just seen a 9 for Tom's riding, so we're going to watch for this score to come in. We'll just remind you, 23.6, Chris Burton and Polystar are out in front at the moment. So 23.6 is the score that Thomas Carlyle and Upsilon need to beat to go ahead of Chris Burton. And there it is, 23.3 into the lead for Tom Carlyle and Upsilon. They've won Event Rider Masters legs on 2 previous occasions, and Tom actually bidding to become the first person to win 3 legs on the same horse here this weekend. Ludwig and I were right.
Absolutely, you were, and I'm very pleased for you both. But I'm more pleased for Tom and all the connections for Upsilon, because he did have questions to answer, but absolutely answered them emphatically. Very big moment, because that horse is a very strong jumper. He's fast. He's probably set himself up for a very strong and competitive finish across the whole weekend. This was the part he needed to prove himself, and he's done it.
And he has this horse 4 Event Rider Masters runs and 4 podium finishes. He's won twice, he's been second once, and he's been third once as well.
Don't forget, his big rival is coming in directly after we see Liz Halliday. So we've talked about it. Upsilon has won 2. The other horse that's won 2 is Kilnabrad and Evo. When they've gone head to head, they finish first and second.
Yeah.
Each of them have taken 1 leg, Ludwig. That's the big rival. He's still to come.
I just say I think it's a very difficult test to beat, because I think it was very, very good. I mean, it was only the halt and the rein back you could have expected a little bit more of, but otherwise it was a very, very good test.
Well, what can Liz Halliday Sharp bring to the table? Fernhill by Night, the horse that she rides for Deborah Halliday. And we're actually 10th in Wiesbaden just a few weeks ago. Scored 33.2 in the dressage on that occasion, but Liz, I know, was a little disappointed with that. Mark Blackie, as he's known at home, is certainly capable of being well into the 20s in this first phase. And so we'll be looking to see what they can challenge. Actually averaged 27.7 in this first phase. So Ludwig, early thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it looks very good. It's a good outline and a good balance. I mean, so far, but it doesn't really have the same, you come in after Upsilon and you think it looks a little bit average maybe, but Upsilon is such an exceptional horse that it's difficult to show the same. But so far it looks good, but not maybe the same quality as we'd seen with Upsilon. Here is a very good square halt. Now come the rein back. It's okay, not really as relaxed and clear big steps that you would like ideally, but still not a bad movement, but you could want a little bit better. Here in the shoulder in, you would see a little bit more constant contact to the contact and consistency, and it's a little bit the same, you could say, all over the trot in the dressage test.
And I think Liz would be expecting that little bit more consistency. You know, this pair are very experienced and have, you know, they've 23 runs, Ludwig, at CIC 3-star level, and they average 28.6. You know, to be averaging in the, you know, in that 20 zone from that many CIC 3-star runs, very impressive. And they've generally, if you look at their recent form, including the 4-star at Kentucky last year, 27.5, 27.9 at Blair, 26.9 at Blenheim, 22.7 in the CIC 3-star at Ocala. The only outlier was last time out, and that was at Wiesbaden, 33.2. They're in between those two scores at the moment, between their normal 27 and the Wiesbaden score of 33, currently trending on 30.6.
Yeah, I mean, it does everything very nicely in a nice outline, but it just lacks that expression we saw on Upsilon for me, and it's you would want a little bit more out of it, but it does all the movement correctly. But quite a good change, but again, it lacks a little bit that expression, and it's correct, but it lacks that little extra to give the higher marks. And again, here it's a nice movement, but you would really want a little bit more from it. In my opinion, it's nearly like she's riding a little bit safe and maybe not showing the full potential of the horse. Oh, had a little mistake there. Misunderstanding, but again, nice half past, correct, and yeah. Still again here, like it's in a nice balance. It does very well, but again, you know, from seeing Upsilon earlier, again to come back to that, it's just a little bit different class of a horse. It just has more expression and just better consistency, and you know, it's still a very nice test. But you know, we've had some very, very serious horses here today, and I think it's very competitive.
There is huge strength and depth in this field, and actually plenty of 8s, but just not quite frequently enough for Liz Halliday-Sharp, Fernhill by Night. 30.4 they're trending as they come up to their final halt, and that's going to be about where they end up, I think. Liz salutes our ground jury, and Fernhill by Night. Can he have another top 10 placing here? This is a horse that is really aimed at the Event Rider Masters series in 2018. Liz comes here hot off a very good run in Le Moulin with De Niro Z just last weekend, and will no doubt be looking to head off to the World Equestrian Games in Tryon a little bit later on this year. But Fernhill by Night, there was a lot to like in that test, Ludwig. It just didn't quite hit the high marks.
No, but I think it was like there was some consistency. You would want a little bit more consistency to the rain and so on, but it's still a very good test. I think it's just when you then have a section like this with some of the best horses in the world, you know, if you were in a normal 3-star, it would probably be one of the top tests. It's just that the quality we have here today, it's just exceptional. That's how simple it is. It's Upsilon's test is you can't really say anything about it because it's just so good.
A few problems.
Well, our expectations were pretty high for Thomas Carlyle and Upsilon, and you did not disappoint, Thomas. You must be very pleased with that. Gone into first place, both in real life and on the SAP Spectator judging.
Yeah, no, he was good, though.
Come on, you've got to give me more than that.
He was his usual self. I mean, he's got that spark that others don't, and he's on his job. I mean, he was a little bit, his ears were flicking a little bit because there's some floorboards in the arena that aren't in the 10 minutes, and he straight away, careful as he is, he picked them out. He said, they're a bit odd. Then you realise they were Event Rider Master ones. Fine, I can perform. But no, he was really good. I'm very happy with with the way he's coming back, and he's just such a partner. I can really count on him. I try not to let him down to it, but I think I rode him quite well. I got some 9s from my riding, so that was good.
So you're taking the full credit for this?
Yeah, and no, I do want to say a little hello to my grandma Amy, who had her 90th birthday on Monday. So.
Oh, happy birthday!
Nana.
As if we didn't love him before, we certainly love him now. Grandma's boy. Thomas, congratulations. Very best of luck tomorrow. I mean, you set yourself a pretty high benchmark now.
Yeah, he does it every time, the bugger. Every time I got to go one better. But no, he's good. I'm happy.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll see you on the podium. Good luck.
Well, if Tom wasn't popular enough, I think he's just made himself even more popular. But this is one of his biggest rivals, Oliver Townend, with Sally-Ann Eggington's at Kilnabraden Evo, a horse that has won 2 Event Rider Masters legs previously. And Tom's bidding for it, but Oliver is bidding for it as well here this weekend to become the first person to win 3 Event Rider Masters legs on the same horse. Can he do it? Well, Kilnabraden Evo gets off to a good start. Ludwig Svennestor in the studio with us. Ludwig, you know Oliver well as well.
Yeah.
He's a pretty cool customer, isn't he?
I'd say, I mean, he's very good and he rides a very good test and he doesn't throw away any marks at all. And he had a very good start, very good halt, a very good center line, a good medium. Here we've seen some very good shoulder in and half past. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing is he really can ride a test without any faults, and that's how you get the really good marks of consistently hitting the high marks. And I mean,
now, we're very much in the sort of same region as we have been with Chris Burton and with Upsilon. You actually put Kilnabraden Evo up as your dressage leader. Are you still standing by that?
I'm counting the rainback steps and they look good. Yes, Nicole. I do think Ludwig said it to me just before we came on air. He said, I don't think that anyone's going to go past Tom from here.
I think it was a very good test, and but this also has a lot to like as well. And it's just riding that test and just consistently getting the good marks. And I mean, Thomas rode such a good test. It's difficult to deliver a test like that.
We did begin to see consistent 7s, 8s, 8.5s, and even 2 9s across the Upsilon test. This is a test of consistency so far. There is probably going to be another little gear needed if we're going to move up that 3 or 4 marks, but there is enough movements left to do that.
Yeah, but I think they've been fairly similar at this stage, all of them, and then they've gone up through the canter work. I mean, if you look at Thomas and even Berto, so...
I would agree with you there, Ludwig. Both Tom was around the 27 mark as he came into his canter.
But it's definitely, it's very difficult, and as I said before, the quality here is unreal. So, even if you ride a good movement, it's not easy to get those scores and ride those for those marks as we've seen earlier today. And I mean, here it is very good, but I think he didn't maybe get the consistency he wanted there in the counter, and it showed a little bit of tension. Very good change there.
11 tests for Kilnabraden Evo, and he averages 27.9. His big test that we're talking about is the Wiesbaden test, which was 22.8, came very close to the record. Last time out, the winner in the CIC 3-star at Barbarocco, that was at 25.7.
I think he's doing it very well, but it's more around the 8 marks and 7.5 maybe than the 9s he really need now to really get those marks, to get the scores to go past Thomas Carlyle. But I mean, it's very good and very high quality and very correct in every way with a lot of quality still.
What I want us to begin to think about now, guys, as we stay around 27 is actually because this guy isn't going to knock a pole. Anyone else who could have a pole is what we need to begin to think about. If you're on Oliver Townend watch, he needs to stay within a rail. If he's not going to get down into that 23 mark, he's got to make sure that he doesn't go above 27.3.
it is still a very, very good score. And actually, we're probably going to see it drop slightly with the collective marks as well. Some good scores coming in this final couple of movements. So he could creep very close to Thomas Carlyle. And I wouldn't totally write him off just yet. Let's just
not writing him off.
I think the second part of the counter work had been better than the first part. It was a little bit of tension there, while now it's been a bit better. And yeah, we see there he got the 8s and 9s there, and that is a very good. It looked very good hold from in front, and still a good hold from the side, but maybe not as good as you wanted.
Well, we're going to see these final scores come in, but Oliver Townend, Kilnabrad and Evo, a horse who was on the podium in Wiesbaden in second place and who won 2 Event Rider Masters legs at Gatcombe and Blair in 2016, is challenging our leader at the moment, Thomas Carlyle and Upsilon, 23.3. The collectives are coming in and the score is going to drop. The question will be, how close to Tom can he get? I'm not sure he's going to drop quite enough, Ludwig.
No, but I think he'd be maybe a point, 1-2 points behind. And I mean, it's a very tough competition we have in front of ourselves. Time will be tight, show jumping be tough. So, you know, he has all to play for. You would definitely not write him off. If he can finish on that score, then yeah, he has a good chance.
As we've said, Equa Ratings always talk about finishing on your dressage score. This is a horse that he's a very careful show jumper, but he's fast as well.
Yeah, and very reliable. He ticks all the boxes, but I think the key one for me is we're going to probably be separated by a point and a half between those big three. I would suggest he's probably going to end up somewhere. Well,
we'll just have to confirm that score because
I think there must have been some discrepancy of the score there. Oh, for sure.
Well, we'll get that confirmed very shortly. Oliver Townend, Kilnabrad and Evo. But in the meantime, let's go back to Hannah.
Thanks. I'm with Liz Halliday-Sharp. Liz, you're a little disappointed with your test, but we just heard you had a fall in the 1-star a little earlier, so you had to dry off from the water jump.
Yeah, I actually had a shower because it was pretty gross. My poor lovely 6-year-old jumped lovely into the water and just a little bit green. He tripped on landing and we both did a bit of a face plant into the water. So we're just running a little behind with the veterinary checks and all that. But he's absolutely fine. We're both fine. But normally, very little warm-up suits Blackie. But he was very, very lazy today. He is a notoriously lazy horse on the flat, but today was extra lazy. And I felt like I was working very hard. And I think it definitely affects the scores on the movements because you end up chasing the test rather than being able to really ride the test. And so it wasn't our tidiest, definitely wasn't our best. I was a little disappointed with the score because I know we can do a lot better, the two of us. But
tomorrow is a new day, Liz. Good luck.
It is indeed, and he's a great jumper, so we're just going to capitalise on that and enjoy it. And he's a lovely horse. We just need a little more pizzazz today.
I've said it once before today. I'll say it again, a bit more Haribo.
Indeed. Maybe we should have given him some.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Well, it just goes to show that our event riders really are tough cookies. But this is the score for Oliver Townend, Kilnabrad and Evo, 24.8 into third. So it goes behind Upsilon, behind Polystar. But that is a very, very good score from Kilnabrad and Evo. And actually, you guys at home on the SAP Spectator Judging app, you do judge him as our leader at the moment, 23.1. You would have scored him. Oliver will be rather wishing you guys were on the ground jury. But that is still a very good score and still one that could really challenge for a place on that final podium. And series leaderboard points, Derm.
For?
Kilnabrad and Evo.
Yes.
Good to see you were paying attention to me there.
Sorry, well, I was actually trying to teach Ludwig how to play stacks here in the background.
Well, okay, you mentioned...
I am doing very well. I have now 100% of those I've played in, so I just want to say looking forward to win the iPad.
You mentioned stacks, Derm. Quick, 20 seconds, just explain it to us.
A new game. It's in the App Store at the moment. If you're looking at the Event Rider Masters, you can log in and you can select the answers. The more consecutive answers answers to the questions that we're posing. So so the next question up, Ludwig, we're asking, will Hasty and Nicola and Vichy Delavine be able to match their 27.4? Will they go below that 28 point? They did a 27.4 at Buckle. Can they go below it? If you get these questions right consecutively, you build your stack, and the person with the highest stack at the end of the weekend is able to win an iPad. So get in there. If you think we're always wrong, it's a good chance for you guys to show us what you know.
And I mean, don't get sad if I win the iPad, but keep trying.
Kieran Glynn, an event rider in Ireland, is actually leading the leaderboard at the moment.
I just started, so give me a bit of time and I'll beat him soon enough.
Well, event riders really are competitive in everything that they do. So if you are just joining us, then you have missed Thomas Carlisle's test. Upsilon has gone into the lead, 23.3, ahead of Chris Burton and Polystar, 23.6. And we've just seen Oliver Town and Kilnabrad and Evo go third on 24.8. So some 5 combinations that still to come forward. The first of those is another very strong French rider, Astier Nicolas with Vinci de la Vigne. Astier rides this 9-year-old by Esterol Desbois for owners Philippe and Marie-José Gerard, and actually a horse that is relatively inexperienced at this level in so much as only 2 runs at 3-star, but they've been 2 very successful ones. 6th at Barbary in the normal 3-star last year. That was actually with Thomas Carlyle in the plate because Astier was off games with a knee injury, but Astier then took the horse to Buccolo in the Netherlands at the end of last year. It went very well to finish in 4th place. So one that I know he thinks a huge amount of for the future. And Astier is a real competitor, Ludwig.
Yeah, I mean, he's top rider, very competitive and really good horseman. He really does a good job with all his horses. He started here, didn't really have the halt he wanted. Went back in the halt, which is less than ideal. But then found a bit better and now progressed better in the test than he started. But it's very difficult when you get that halt and the horse goes back. It's really not what you want. But otherwise, it's done some good movements. Maybe not to the quality of Upsilon, as the horse is maybe not as nice and high in the neck and out in the outline, but still very nice. See here, a very good halt there. That is very, very square and very good. And here, 5th step, yeah, very good rein back as well. Relaxed diagonal steps. Now he comes here to the shoulder in. Looks like a good angle, good consistency. Dropped a little bit there, but still a pretty good rein back. Good there. Maybe you would like the horse to be a little bit more in self-carriage in that movement and moving forward. Yeah, the walk is always a difficult movement as you know, we have fit event horses and it's a lot of happening in the ring and so on. But I mean, I think this is here today. We have such a good dressage ring that we have really a good chance, or the riders have a good chance to really perform top tests and really show the best of their horse. The conditions here are really, really fantastic.
We've got about perfect weather conditions today as well. Light breeze, overcast, not too hot, not too windy or cold or anything like that. Yeah. And actually, the scene is very much set here in Arville for, we've got a top-class field, top-class competition.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, it's a very good ring there. It's really, really good surface, and you know, then you really have a good chance. I always prefer a surface over grass, and I think here you really have a chance to show the best quality your horse can do. You have really no excuses here. Here the canter is quite good here. Still maybe could be a little bit better, that it could be a little bit more in self-carriage and so on. The change, a little bit short behind, but still quite relaxed and came through. But you could ask that you would want a little bit clearer behind, but still a good change. Here come to the medium. Yeah, it's okay. Maybe extended there. Maybe you would want it to show a little bit more extension than he showed, but still it's okay. You saw there in the flying change of the leg, it's the E-judge gave a 7.5 because it's very difficult from his position to really see that with the hind leg, while the M judge was a bit harsher, and C as well. I think here, it's just a little bit not really as fluent and submissive as you would like it. And as we've seen earlier today, it just goes a bit general all over the whole test, but the general quality is still fairly high. See, now there comes second change. Still, it's a clean change, but a little bit short behind. And you want the horse to come through more behind to gain the higher marks.
You can see where the potential for this horse to get lots of higher marks is. We've seen 8.5s creep in. Unfortunately, they've just kind of been negated by the odd score, sort of a 5 that's really pulled it down.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean we've seen some very good tests. This also has very high quality, but maybe not as submissive and smooth as we've seen in the other tests, and also maybe not the same experience as the older horses we've seen in the field. I mean, Uppsala and Bertus horse, they're both older horses with a lot more mileage and experience and strength. So. But it's still a fairly good test.
Well, we'll get a score for Hasty Nicolas Vinci de Levine as soon as it does come through. But halfway through this one, the first ever Event Rider Masters leg, and this was the Holt Ludwig that really impressed us.
Yeah, that Holt is super. It's extremely square and it presents a very good picture in the neck, and he stood still for a long time, and no, it was a very good Holt. Very good Holt.
Well, we've just seen another magnificent test. It's no surprise who it's from, Oliver Townend on Kilner, Brad and Evo. You've gone into third place, Oliver. The spectators have put you in the top spot, though. How do you feel it went?
Yeah, no, he's getting more and more reliable. His way of going's becoming more and more established. But you've got to have a little bit of luck on your side. He knows the test quite well now, which is a bit of a problem. He starts bringing himself to the halts before we even get there, but couldn't be happier, really. He's close enough, and hopefully 2 more good bits to come.
And we have to talk about the rivalry between you and Thomas Carlyle. You're one apiece at the top spot against each other, with the other one in second place. What are your predictions?
Thomas is a very nice boy from Manchester. I'm from Huddersfield, so a bit of red and white roses rivalry. He's on the best horse, or one of the best horses in the world, not just for an ERM horse, but also for a CCI horse. So he's always going to be a threat, but hopefully I'll be doing my best and he'll be doing his best, and we'll see who comes out on top.
Well, we saw you on the podium in Wiesbaden, and you've certainly set off on the right foot this weekend. Good luck, Oliver.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, they get on well off their horses as well. Oliver Townend, Kilner, Brad and Evo up against Thomas Carlyle and Upsilon, but there is every possibility that somebody else could come and spoil their party. And it could very much be this lady, because she is on absolute fire at the moment. And confidence really does do amazing things. Janelle Price, winner of 2 4-stars already this year. Husband Tim leads the Event Rider Masters series, and this is a horse that has the best average of all of the horses in the field. Seeded as number 1 for the dressage, Janelle Price comes forward with the Marley and Me Syndicate's Cloud Dancer. A horse that has been on an Event Rider Masters podium previously. That was actually in Blenheim back in 2016. In the series finale, Janelle missed most of last season, gave birth to son Otis, and has come back absolutely firing on all cylinders in 2018. Now, this is a horse term that has every possibility of going out into the lead now.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, we talk about, you know, there's a couple of others, probably Classic Moa, Fairy Dianamo, who can steal the limelight a little bit. But of all the horses, Cloud Dancer is the one that gave Janelle her best ever CIC 3-star test. That came back at Blenheim in 2015. 22.1 was what they scored that day. So can they? Absolutely. Looking at recent form, 28.3, 27.8 and 28.7. That's their last 3 tests, all at CIC 3-star, Wiesbaden, Blenheim and Blair.
Now, Janelle was disappointed with her score in Wiesbaden because this horse, as we've just seen in their first medium trot, is a fairly flashy mover, Ludwig.
I mean, it's exceptional move. It's not fairly flashy. It's exceptional. I mean, this is the horse in the field that really, really moves, you know, better than everything else. And, you know, really, really good center line, perfect hold, very good medium. And I mean, with a horse that moves like this, it can be a little bit difficult to get the consistency and keep the angle in shoulder in and half pass, but she did them very well. And I mean, you'd say that so far it's very, very good. And I'd say this is the best trot we've seen so far today, and it's very high quality. And if she can keep this, I think she might break the record.
Well,
break the record.
Yeah,
20.5 is the record.
Yeah.
Now, Ludwig actually put that prediction out there before the scores came in because one of the judges had a problem with the button. So this is actually the scores catching up now and trending to break the Event Rider Masters dressage record, which is 20.5.
Yeah, I mean, she's done a fantastic trot. You know, it's really, really the best we've seen today. Now it's just keeping it together, and you know, it's as soon as you get one mistake, she fall back quite a lot. So if she can keep a clean sheet and just keep the quality up, yeah, she has a very good chance.
And Nicole looks like she's about to explode here. We've got girl power going on all over this start of the 2018 season. Janelle being probably the leader, the Khaleesi of all the girl power at the moment. 21, they're so close to that Event Rider Masters record. I'm going to have to get back to the stats because I absolutely was not prepped for Janelle Price breaking an Event Rider Masters record. She's on track. She's on track for the lead at the moment, but every single dropped mark, anything below a 7, which I think is probably what you need to be looking at when you see those trending scores, anything below a 7 begins to cost them. And you can see there, just falling behind.
The walk was very expensive for her.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you know, you can see there is a little bit of tension, and especially in that beginning of the canter. See how now coming up to the change. It's not a bad change, but you'd want a little bit more fluency, as it took a little bit shorter step before it changed. But then it was a very expressive and clear and clean change. I think, you know, from looking at it, it's if we compare with Oliver and Upsilon, for example, their canter work was better than the trot nearly. While here her trot was probably a bit stronger than the canter work so far, at least. But I think, yeah, she's maybe not going to break the record anymore.
25.6 at the moment. So that would see her go into around 4th place.
Yeah, but still, I mean, she has a bit to come, and you'd expect her to go down a little bit, and she could well still go in the lead, because I think the other two, they were around about the same marks at this, and
yeah, possibly even slightly higher.
She looks to have settled Cloud Dancer slightly as the canter has progressed.
Yeah, but then we didn't really see the change we wanted there. I'd say, you know, it's clean change, but it stopped a little before, and she probably gets 6s for that, and you know, so that's just too expensive. You know, if you're going to go into the lead here, I would say you can't really afford that. See how here she comes up the final center line, and her hold so far has been very good. So hopefully she ends on.
Actually, I looked over my shoulder just as Janelle was finishing her preparations, and one of the last things that she prepared before she went into the arena was the halt. She gets her final halt as well. Janelle Price and Cloud Dancer, a 9 for that final halt in mobility. Salute. Don't think she's going to quite challenge at the very top of the leaderboard, but that is still a very good test from a lady who's riding with a huge amount of confidence at the moment. Ludwig, that was a test of two halves. You know, the trot work, exceptional.
Amazing. And I think, you know, the quality in the canter was very, very high, but it's just got a little bit of tension in the canter, and, you know, just didn't really receive the marks, and the changes wasn't as good as you would have liked, and the walk was a little bit tense. So, you know, that's where she lost her marks. And I mean, you know, if she can do a perfect test on this, it'd be very, very good.
Well, Janelle Price and Cloud Dancer will get her score confirmed for you, but should go inside the top 4 or 5 on the leaderboard. Won't be enough to challenge the leader of Thomas Carlyle, and Upsilon 23.3 is the score to beat. But for now, let's go to Hannah. In fact, we should just get Janelle's score in, because that is going to go into 3rd place. She goes onto the podium 24.8. So that actually means that she goes into around 3rd place at the moment. You guys at home score her as 24.3 into 2nd on the SAP Spectator judging app. And that is a very good score for Janelle. But for now, let's go to Hannah.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. I'm with Astier Nicola. Astier, you're not overly pleased with your test, were you? We should have been seeing you in the 20s.
Yeah, I'm not over the moon. It's been the horse was felt a little bit flat in this arena, and I was expecting quite a good test of him. Like, he's a good dressage horse and good horse overall. And today he felt a bit sweaty and flat. Well, we'll see how he is tomorrow. That's the important bit now.
Tomorrow's another day.
Exactly, yes, there's plenty to do, and I expect a tough jumping course, and also the cross country is tricky with plenty of questions all around, and a lot of undulations. That's going to make the time tight, and hopefully we get the ground okay.
Okay, well, very best of luck for tomorrow, Astier.
Thank you.
Well, just having started her test is Gemma Tattersall Chicabella P. Gemma, the 2017 series champion. She's bidding to become the first person to take 3 Event Rider Masters legs on 3 different horses here this weekend. If Chicabella P can take the win, rides this horse for Chris Stone. Chris and Lisa Stone have been a huge part of the Event Rider Masters series, but also of Gemma's career. They've supported her for a number of years now, and this mare holds a bit of a special place in all of their hearts, I think. She's exceptionally talented. Don't get to see her that frequently, but was integral to Gemma's series challenge in 2017. Finished 4th at both Jardy and in Blenheim. Ludwig, plenty of 8s coming in at the early part of the test, but the Rainbrack wasn't as straightforward as I think Gemma would have liked.
No, the halt and the Rainback was probably not what she wanted. I mean, this is a very nice horse, and still it's scoring fairly good marks. But I mean, the Rainback and the halt will have brought her up. We'll see now what she can do in the canter work. I think there in the walk, it's okay. It's not perfect. It's probably around 7. You would like the horse to work a little bit more with consistency and go forward and out with the neck a little bit more with a purpose. She comes and starts the canter, go into the half past now. It's okay, maybe you would like a little bit more forward, but still it's pretty good. Very, very nice horse this. See what she does here. Comes back. I think for me, I would like the horse to go a little bit more forward. It just doesn't feel like it has a purpose in its movement. Now it comes up to the change here. That was very good. That was a very nice change.
The changes would be a bit of a party piece of Chicabella P's.
Yeah. I mean, the change was very good. You could say that you want more expression, but I thought it was. I really liked that change. It's effortless, very clear. Uphill. I thought it was very, very nice. I thought that should have had an 8 definitely by all judges, but it's always with changes what everyone maybe sometimes wants a bit more expression in them, but I thought it was a very nice change. Yeah.
There's still plenty of 8s coming in, but I think Gemma would really have hoped this test to be closer to sort of 26, 27.
But I think she still would have a good chance of getting there. You know, if she can keep this counter work up, she's getting the better marks and come back to the change now and with a good change.
And this would be a horse that actually will really excel as one of the best jumpers in the field for the show jumping tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. They did have a pole down at Blenheim 2016. That was the final. That was the big pressure day. It was a very wet day, if you remember, and it was very much unexpected. They had a long line of clears before that, and they've had clear jumping rounds since that as well. So, very strong jumper. Very strong jumper in the cross country on Sunday. We don't see Chicobella all that much is the big one. So we only saw her twice last year, and you never. She's a precious one, as Gemma will tell you. So they use her sparingly. She's in or around where you would expect, 29.4. And actually, would you believe, guys, numbers work out. And I know that those scores are about to change. Oh, it was nice while it lasted. But 17 runs at CIC 3-star level, and 29.4 is Chicobella's average across those 17 runs. She was on 29.8, I think, just before we saw the collective. So she's going to be in around, I would suggest, probably coming down. Would you think? I would think maybe in the 28 zone. 28.
Yeah, high end of 28. Low 29, high 28, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be watching that score come in very closely, because if she could be sub 30, she would just be towards sneaking inside the top 10. So Gemma Tattersall and Chicobella P will bring you their score in just a moment's time. Gemma Tattersall, 29.1, just sneaks inside the top 10. So that's good enough for her to go in touch with the leaders, just over a fence behind Thomas Carlyle and Upsilon, who are out in front at the moment. So next to go will be Sir Mark Todd, NZB Campino. But before Mark goes into the arena, let's go to Hannah.
Well, we definitely needed a bit of female spirit to mix it up with the men at the top of the leaderboard, and someone we knew was going to do that, Janelle Price, off the back of 2 consecutive 4-star wins. Janelle, a fantastic test. Well done.
Yeah, I was really pleased with him. He's a talented horse in this phase, and he went out there, he was really rideable today. It just shows the quality of this field, though, when, Test, which I thought was very good, isn't even in the top 3. So still a bit of work to do, but look, it's a good start.
Now, they were talking in the commentary box about your trots being absolutely exceptional, but some of the other parts just not living up to that. At one point, you were trending at 19.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure where I lost it, actually. So it'll be interesting to watch it back myself and have a look at those marks and see where hopefully we can keep on that 19.
Well, I think very shortly I'm going to be doing a feature with you and your husband where he's going to critique your dressage test. So we shall see what he says. What are your expectations for tomorrow?
Look, this horse, he can be very good. He's had some super results, in the Master Series 2016. He has got a little bit of a split personality, but I'm hoping he's bought the right one this week. And provided he has, I'll look for 2 good jumping phases tomorrow.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, next to come forward, the penultimate rider to go. He was in the studio commentating with us a little bit earlier on. It is Sir Mark Todd with NZB Campino, a horse who has been a wonderful campaigner for Mark over the years. Was his ride at the London Olympics, numerous top 10s at 4-star, and a horse who was top 10 in Shardy in the Event Rider Masters last year. And a horse, actually, that Mark was saying a little bit earlier on hasn't had an international run since Po, so a little bit of a last-minute decision to bring him here. But 16 years of age and unbelievably experienced. So Mark wouldn't be too worried about that, I don't think. In the studio with us, Ludwig Svenestål and Bern. Ludwig, early thoughts on Mark's test? He's certainly presenting a good picture.
Yeah, very good. I really like this horse. I think it's a very, very nice horse. Didn't maybe really get the center line he wanted, but then good medium. Just good consistency here, good outline, presents a very, very good picture. I know it looks very good so far. I would expect this one to be up very close to the top of this. What do you think, Dan?
Well, did you tell me that this horse averages something like a 26 from all of his career runs at this level?
I did, Nicole.
What is that? Is that 26? Was that it? Did I remember it correctly? You're teaching me.
Well, I think the really key one is you've got to look for that quantity and quality. So 26.9 is what they average, and from 18 runs, I think that strikes me. When you see those two numbers together, you begin to get excited about it. It's not. I mean, we're going to see it. The next horse we're going to see, and I'm sure Ludwig will be able to talk us through it. You can see the last two tests are what's brought us into a very, very exciting zone. But we're talking about 2, 3, 4 tests of that caliber. 18 tests for Campino and a 26.9 average. I mean, I think that's outstanding.
Yeah, and he started very well here. He presented a very good trot. The halter was very good. So, you know, he's done very well so far. And if he can keep this up, it'll be very interesting to see how well he does. I think normally he would do very good changes and have a very good canter work. So this should be one for the top, I think. See here coming up the canter work, coming up the center line. It looks very good there. Maybe that was not so good. But still there, a good half past. Maybe didn't really get the consistency in the contact he wanted up there on the center line, but then presented a very good half past. Looks very good here. Connected and collected and still relaxed. And present a very good neck and outline of the horse. Coming up here to the first change. Very nice change, I thought. Very, very nice.
If you were a judge, what would you give it?
I think I would give it an 8.
Okay.
I think so. I think it was very relaxed, still enough expression, and no, I thought it was very nice change.
Well, we'll see if our judges agree with you in a second. And don't forget, if you at home want to get involved in judging, you can download the SAP Spectator Judging app. You can really enjoy it in the show jumping phase tomorrow as well. You were nicer than our judges here today, Ludwig. Mark will be...
But I think it's you know, how you judge changes. I think that what you could say is maybe have more expression. But for me, it was very relaxed, very correct, very clear on the 8. And for me, it should be more an 8 than a 7. But... like I can see the point of why they would give it a 7.
a rather nice unscheduled couple of flying changes there, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, in a class like this, you can't really afford that. You know, it's so competitive here today that you just can't afford these mistakes. I think it'd be very expensive for him.
And actually, you were based, am I right in saying, at Badgerstown?
Yeah, this was
my
previous landlord.
Was he a good landlord?
Very good landlord. Very, very good landlord. He's a very good man, and you know, he's a really nice guy and a super rider. You know, to see him ride every day, that is really, really cool.
To have been at the top of the sport for that many number of years, to then take time away and come back to the top of the sport is quite incredible.
Yeah, but he's a true horseman. You know, that's the amazing thing. I think he's such a horseman, and his connection with the horses is really amazing. And I think, you know, today when it becomes more competitive and some people maybe lose that feeling, and he's still got such an amazing feeling for a horse, and what he does with him, it's really exceptional and really fantastic to have been there for such a long time.
And he's got a really good team of horses as well coming forward this year. So we'll get to Mark's score very shortly. But in the meantime, let's go to Hannah.
Thanks, Nicole. Gemma, you're clearly gutted.
Yeah, I'm gutted with the score. I'm really pleased with the horse. It's the first time she's run this year. She hasn't even done a national event at home. And she went in there and did everything I asked her to do. Yeah, the halts weren't great, but everything else felt really good. And yeah, I just don't feel like she was rewarded for nice work, which is a real shame.
And of course, the knock-on effect is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is, but at the end of the day, I'm really happy to have her back. I love this horse, and, she's a really good jumper, and I'm really looking forward to the next phases.
So wipe the slate clean, get on with tomorrow and focus on that. Is that the plan?
Yeah, definitely. I'm much better at jumping than I am at dressage anyway, so...
Let's focus on the positive.
Exactly.
Okay, good luck tomorrow, Gemma.
Thank you very much.
Well, she's still pretty good at the dressage phase as well. We won't let Gemma do herself down too much, but we'll look forward to seeing her, Chica Bella P, rated as one of Equirating's best jumpers in the field. Now, though, it is the final rider of what has been an incredible day of dressage here, leg 3 of the 2018 Event Rider Masters series, and it is Teresa Wickland and Diabolique for owner Lena Nystrom, and a combination who actually... went very well in Jardy last year. Really impressed in the dressage on that occasion. Come here having been placed in the top 15 at Chatsworth in a 3-star. Has actually spent much of the spring being based over in England, Teresa, and rides for Sweden. Ludvig, I think you know of this combination?
Yeah, I do. This is, we have a small Swedish team, and she's part of the team, She's been based now, as you said, in spring in England, and I would say she'd be a very strong contender here in the dressage, and she would do a very polished test. And I wonder if she can't even be in contention for the lead. Or what do you say, Emda?
Yeah, this is one I'm actually really looking forward to seeing. Looking at those last 2 tests, it's different to the Mark Todd situation, as I mentioned, where you had that huge amount of quantity, but they started their... we saw them last year at Jardy, 25.8 in the Event Rider Masters. The CIC 3-star at Le Moulin was a 30.1, but recently their last 2 tests, Houghton Hall and Chatsworth, 25.4 and 26.3. Absolutely in with a very big chance of a top 5 finish here. 76% of people on stacks have all gone for below a score of 27. The audience are backing her. She started well.
Yeah, I think she had a really good start here. Good center line, good medium. Could maybe have a little bit more, but still very correct. Present a very good outline on the short side. Good shoulder in and half past. And again here, maybe would like a little bit more, but still it's good enough for a good mark. Comes to a halt here. Let's see. Not really as square as you would like, but still maybe not a bad halt. I'd say that's probably the best rein back I've seen all day. And then, the thing with this horse is it has a very nice neck, and it presents it very well, and constantly an uphill, and she rides very well and presents the horse in a very good way. Come there. Yeah, no, it's very good.
We're still waiting for those scores to come in, but I think she's going to be fairly well up there inside the top 5.
Yeah, I would say not as good as Janelle was at this point, but very close. You can't really falter. Nearly all the movements should be 8, maybe. A little bit less on the mediums, but still very good. Good walk here. No. Good transition to canter.
This is a good test for us. Well, we don't have trending scores to see how good our eyes become. You do get very used to just looking at that trending score and beginning to see how they're doing.
Yeah, but I'd say so far this has been a very good test. You like the mediums, maybe you could have wanted a little bit more, but otherwise it is very well executed and in a very good way, and the horse shows enough quality. Good change there. Maybe you would have wanted a little bit more expression for the higher marks, but still a very good change. It would be fantastic if we had a Swedish leader of the dressage, wouldn't it?
It would be, Ludwig. It would be.
It would be quite dramatic. Or just a little,
I think that went away there.
little bit of resistance
Yeah.
in the medium canter as she perhaps came back on that circle. So we're just...
Yeah, but otherwise it's been a very good test, and with quality and well executed and very correct, except for that medium. Oh, there we got that. It's a little bit the same as with Mark, you know, got a mistake there in the counter canter, and I mean it's just too expensive.
I would just note, there was a bit of a cheer that went up. I think Belgium are playing it. It's being played on the big screen. Do we think that actually just distracted the horse momentarily?
I don't know, but at the end of the day, it's always when you ride in the ring, you know, you can't control everything, and in one way, it's if there is a noise somewhere, yeah, you know, it is what it is, and the horses, the top horses should be used by now, and okay, this one haven't maybe not been in that many big atmospheres as Mark's, for example, but still, I think I always think you ride what you got, and if that is, sometimes you go to a very busy ring, sometimes it's very quiet, and you know, you can't really control everything, so.
Wow.
Very good hold there.
You know what, as for a 10-year-old mare, you know, doing their dressage test in Belgium, when Belgium are playing a World Cup game, and Belgium have probably scored, the education that you get, you won't do that a lot of times. But if you're going to, if she's going to go on to World Games, if she's going to go on to Olympics, you know, you can expect all those things that Ludwig is talking about to come into play.
Well, we'll wait for her score. She won't be able to challenge the very top with that mistake in the canter work, but still a very good test from Trez Vikland and Diabolique. And that, Ludwig, you said was the best rein back you had seen.
Yeah, I thought it was very good, very relaxed, clear diagonal steps. I mean, you could have said that, like, she should have gone off half a step earlier, that it took one extra step and then went off. But the rein back itself was very clear and yet relaxed, and big diagonal steps.
Well, we'll wait for Therese's score, which should be with us very shortly, but still lots to like from this young Swedish rider. And again, we'll look forward to seeing them in the jumping phases tomorrow. We'll be bringing you all of the action live at eventridermasters.tv. So that final score just to come in a moment, but Mark Todd, NZB Campino, one of the most experienced combinations in the field, and into 10th, Hannah.
Absolutely, Nicole. And a real treat for us to see Campino here. A little bit of a surprise, actually. You weren't going to bring a different horse, Mark.
Yeah, no, Leonidas was booked to come here, but he had a little injury, so he's on the easy list for a couple of weeks. Campino hasn't actually been at a competition since November last year. He had to have a little bone chip removed at the beginning of this year, so he was supposed to come here and have a quiet run around the 2-star, but when the other one went out, I thought, well, he can step up.
And he has stepped up. That was a nice little test.
Yeah, no, he was good. No, he was just a bit pleased to be out, and the counter work got a little bit carried away, and he threw in a few extra changes. But that's him, you know. He's 16 years old. He's a bit of a law unto himself, and you've just got to sit there and smile when he does those sort of things.
And you've had such a fantastic partnership over the years, you two.
Yeah, no, I've had him for 10 years now, and you know, he's a great old boy. I love riding him. He's great fun, and you know, the next 2 phases will be interesting. Like I say, he hasn't been out in a competition, so we'll see what happens.
Okay, we'll watch the space. Best of luck, Mark.
Thanks very much.
Well, that has concluded the dressage for leg 3 of the 2018 Event Rider Masters series. Just waiting for those final scores for Trez Vikland and Diabolique to come in. You just see her talking to her team after that dressage. The Supergrooms are on hand very quickly. You can vote for your Supergrooms using the hashtag ERMSupergroom on social media. Just get that finalised score for you, but looking likely to go towards the middle end of the top 10. And he really is a very, very top class top 10. So we'll confirm that for you in just a moment, and we'll hopefully hear from Teresa very shortly as well, because she really is a star of the future for Swedish eventing, and we'll be looking forward to seeing her journey. But that concludes the dressage, and what a day of dressage it has been. We have certainly enjoyed plenty of thrills, plenty of spills, some real highs, some people that have been a little bit disappointed with each of their tests. But one thing we can't deny is it has been an absolute top-class day of competition. For now, though, let's go to Hannah.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Well, Trez, how do you feel it went? We're still waiting for your final score to come in.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with her. She got a bit tense when the audience was talking a little bit loud. I think they were watching some football, and then she got some tension, but I think she was really good.
And how does it feel competing at this level? I mean, you know, some of the best riders in the world, and you've got Fred here, your coach. There's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, but it's really good to us to see good riders and do some tests on this level. It's good for the future.
Okay, well, very best of luck. What are your expectations for tomorrow?
It's a really technical course, but I'm hoping we will get in good.
Okay, well, good luck. Oh, we're still waiting for your final scores, but very best of luck for tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, that score 26.3 for Teresa Wiklund Diabolique, and that sees her go into 5th place at the moment. That is provisional, but Teresa Wiklund and Diabolique, the scores just catching up with her. A little bit of a problem with the scores from the judges, but we've seen plenty of good scores, and actually a 9.5 that was in there from one of our judges at E as well. So brilliant from her, and Diabolique Teresa Wiklund goes 5th, 26.3 her final score. So this is how things look after the first of the 3 phases. Thomas Carlyle and Upsilon, he duly delivered in this first phase, 23.3 to go ahead of Christopher Burton and Polystar. 23.6 for Australia in second. Kilnabrad and Evo into third. Oliver Townend, this a horse that has been on the podium in Event Rider Masters legs on 4 previous occasions. Can he make it 5 here in Arville? Other key combinations, Tim Price, the current series leader, King Cooley cruising. He was delighted with that horse's test. Gemma Tattersall a little disappointed with Chica Bella P, but one to keep an eye on in the show jumping tomorrow. Sarah Cohen and Treason, you guys at home didn't like her test quite as much as our ground jury, judging along on the SAP Spectator judging app. And don't forget, you can use that app in tomorrow's show jumping as well, so do get involved. Tina de la Fief and Maxime Livio put up as one to watch in the show jumping. Clarke Johnston, Balmoral sensation, a little bit disappointing for Clarke in the dressage, 32.1, so that's a bit disappointing for them. And a little bit further down, Nils Trebate, Montina for 40.3. Still a respectable score in that, but that is the leaderboard. That is how things stand after the first of the 3 phases. But I believe, Hannah, you've got a bit of a surprise for us.
Well, you know I like a little bit of behind the scenes, and it doesn't get any more behind the scenes than this. I am in Ernst Tops, who's president of the ground jury. You've got a very smart shed here, haven't you, Ernst?
Yes.
So you're at point C in the dressage arena, and it's your job to score everyone as they go around.
Yes, like my colleagues, we are sitting on different positions, so we can see different aspects and try to make a good result.
And what do you think of the competition today?
Yeah, today we had very strong field with a lot of very good rides. There were only a few that were over the 30s, so that was very strong. We had very experienced and successful riders here, which most of them were on top of the ranking. So it was good watching them and good judging them.
And was there a highlight, a particular combination that you felt really were superb?
Yes, well, we had a few that were superb. The best was Ypsilon for me today. But there was not big difference to maybe 4 or 5 more. They were really good today.
Okay, well, you've had a long day. I'm going to let you have a drink and a relax and get ready for tomorrow. But thank you very much for all you and all the judges do. We certainly couldn't do this competition without you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Ernst.
Well, it's always good to hear from members of the ground jury because they really are in charge of the competition throughout the weekend. And what a competition we have enjoyed in the dressage today. In the studio with me, Ludwig Svenestall and Derm Byrne as well. Guys, let's just take a moment to reflect on what has been an incredible day of dressage. Ludwig, you agreed with me when we said that Thomas Carlyle Upsilon was going to lead, and he duly delivered for us.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's only Derm that didn't really get the feeling of it. But, you know, it was a fantastic day of dressage. The quality today have been exceptional. You know, a smaller mistake have been extremely expensive, and you know, it's just been a top day of sport, really.
And Kilnabrad and Evo, Oliver Townend, they're not leading. They're in third at the moment, but they are well placed.
They're very well placed, and you don't need me to remind you that we have 3 phases in this great sport of ours. We will come on to look at their jumping, but you're absolutely right. And to be honest, I'm very pleased for the pair of you with your prediction, and for all of you people out there as well, because yes, Upsilon had questions to answer, and Julie answered them. He leads. He's a very strong show jumper, and he's very strong in the cross country. It's the head-to-head that we expected. Kilnabrad and Evo and Upsilon go head-to-head.
But we can't forget the man that's currently in second, Chris Burton and Polly Starr. Echo ratings have long put him up as the fastest rider in the world. He's going to need that tomorrow afternoon.
Absolutely. It's a Chatsworth type course based on the data that we can see. We've only got 5 CIC 3-star runs, so 2012 to 2016. We didn't have a CIC 3-star here last year. We've never had this type of quality field, but you could maybe say neither had Chatsworth. They had 1 person inside the time until Event Rider Masters arrived a couple of years ago. Now we're up to 7. 8, we're in that region, so it does bring quality. I am expecting people to make the time tomorrow, to be honest. The fastest round we've ever seen here is 12 seconds over. The jumping rate is 50% clears. I expect all that to change tomorrow, but from what I can see so far, the jumping phases will be very influential. All of our top 3 have big strengths in those phases.
Well, looking forward to tomorrow's jumping phases, because as you rightly said, there are 3 phases involved. You put Kilnabrad and Evo up at the beginning of the weekend as your winner. Are you standing by that?
Yes, Nicole.
Yes?
Yeah, it's based on lots of things, but the show jumping probably been the biggest. 14 clears in a row, 10 with Oliver. Upsilon has 10 clears from 15 runs. Polly Starr and Chris Burton, as you say, fastest rider in the field. This is cut out for a very, very big finish, and I think you don't count down to 2 ladies there as well, Trez and also Janelle. Both of them have huge strengths across those phases. I think they both might be liable to a pole, so probably the other 2.
Okay, and Ludwig, can we ask you your winner this weekend?
Yeah, I think Oliver will be a very, very hot contender, as well will be Thomas. I'd say my bet would be one of them, maybe Oliver, but I mean, Berto is there, Janelle is there, Tim Price is there. I mean, the field is just exceptional. You know, it's like today with the dressage. A very small mistake in the dressage became very expensive, and it'd be the same for the rest of the show.
Well, it has been huge strength in depth in each of the fields so far we've seen, but none more so than here in Arville this weekend. The dressage today has not been a disappointment. Tomorrow is all about the jumping, the show jumping, the coloured poles in the morning. You need to jump clear. Make sure you join us 10:20 Central European time. We're live.